Dr. Turtleboy walks the line, truth in his hands. Fingers point at shadows, he's breaking their plans. Corrupt suits in the courthouse playing their game. But the lies they sling won't tarnish his name. They try to bury him, but he won't go down. Fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. Turtleboy standing tall in the fight. Truth's his weapon shining through the night. Bogus charges flying, but they can't stick. He's cutting through the darkness, sharp and quick. The gavel pounds, but his voice won't break. No matter how much they take and fake. They try to bury him, but he won't go down. Fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. Turtleboy standing tall in the fight. Truth's his weapon shining through the night. His ground in the face of their lies. His courage resounds. For every false word there's a lie he ignites. A warrior for truth under courthouse lights. He's been bruised, but he won't lose the war. Kicking down the gates of corruption's door. Dr. Turtleboy still chasing the sun. The fight's far from over, but he's never done.
All right, folks, time for Friday. It's Friday afternoon in the United States. It's Friday evening where I am, and it is probably Saturday. Well, it is Saturday in other parts of the world already. Bring your beverage of choice, and we are going to watch the final part of the Turtleboy alleged violation of restraining order trial. We have about just over 2 hours, which means with my commentary, with my words and everything, we're 3, 4, maybe 5 hours. We'll see. We will see. We will see. And today, I know there's a McCabe testifying. I know the Paul O'Keefe is testifying. We will find out. So let's see here. Let's get this one going. Massachusetts versus Kearney. Final part. Welcome everybody, by the way. Welcome. Good to have you here. Let's see if we get a visit from Mr. Jingles. I hope so. He is indoors at least, and he usually likes to come and bother me while I stream. All right. There it is. Let's get the things up and running. Where did it go? Where did it go? There. I'm putting myself down here. And let's go.
Colin McCabe, please.
Colin McCabe.
Colin McCabe.
Start with your right hand. Do you swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. McCabe, would you introduce yourself to the court, please?
My name is Colin McCabe.
And Mr. McCabe, are you employed?
Yes, I am. I'm married. Yes,
What kind of work do you do?
I'm in construction.
And directing your attention, sir, to, it's like, I think we're February 26th, are we not, of 2024. Did you have plans to go anywhere that day?
Did I have plans on February 26th to go anywhere that day? Yes, I had plans where I came and I showed up and went to the courthouse across the street.
And, were you alone or with someone?
I was with a group of people.
And when you say you showed up, did you drive yourself?
Yes, I came by myself.
And where did you park?
I parked in the back parking lot behind the Registry of Deeds.
And when you got there, did you find the people you were supposed to meet?
Yes, I did.
And, noting your last name, sir, appears to be the same as one of the witnesses in the Carney case. Is there a family connection?
Yes, my brother is a witness and my sister-in-law is a witness in the Carney case.
Was.
And,
You lost.
Yes, I have.
And what was your purpose in attending that day?
Just go to support the O'Keefe family and the witnesses that are involved in that case.
So did you make your way at some point from where you were parked?
Some support.
to the local spirit?
Yes, I did. I walked up the driveway, past the Registry of Deeds, across the street, into the courthouse.
Didn't the McCabes have a diet challenge?
I was with a group of people at that time.
And was,
Doesn't work.
you know, was the county,
I do not know her, but she was not in the group of people that I was with when I walked into the courthouse.
who was in the group that you were with?
Other residents from Canton, some family members, and just people that I have no idea, just supporters of the O'Keefe family.
So when you got into the courtroom, you passed through the metal detector, et cetera,
Yes, I did.
and where did you go from there?
Then I proceeded up to the top of the stairs in front of the courtroom where the hearing was being held.
All right.
There was a group of other people there. There was a lot of people up there, and I just stood there waiting to see if I would actually get into the courtroom.
And by the way, did you actually get into the courtroom?
No, I did not.
So what did you wind up doing while the hearing was in session?
I went down to the bottom floor of the courthouse, and I sat there waiting for the people that were in the courthouse to come out and leave.
Now, are you familiar with the gentleman named Aidan Kearney?
I know who he is.
And how do you know who he is?
Just from seeing, I have zero online presence, but just from people sending things and knowing that he's the guy that's been harassing my brother and my sister-in-law. Doing his coverage of the Carney case. Yes, I did.
Or you.
During that day, yes, I saw him multiple times during that day.
What would describe the situation the first time you saw him?
First time I saw him was when I was coming across the street. Saw him. There was a massive crowd of all of his supporters and Carney supporters out there on the street. And I just saw him out there doing what he does, taking pictures with his fans.
And then did you see him again once you went to the courthouse?
Yes, I did. Then when I was upstairs waiting, I saw him. He came up the stairs, and actually he straddled my leg when he came up the stairs. He came up. He was trying to slither his way like a little snake through the crowd. And when he got to me,
fuck you.
he said, "Excuse me." I said, "Sorry, it's packed. You know, there's no room to go." So he tried to slither by my body.
All right, we are 2.5 minutes in. He's a cunt. Yep.
Basically straddling my leg. People in front of me weren't moving, so then he realized he wasn't going to get by. He walked down the stairs, came up the elevator, came on the other side, looked over smiling.
Next question.
So you waited until the hearing was over, and then what did you do?
Then I proceeded to leave with everybody that was leaving the courthouse.
And where were you in the line of people?
I was the last person. I was the last one in the line.
The very last person.
Yes.
Now, as you're leaving, did you decide to do it?
Yes, I took my camera out and started filming just because it was a crazy mob of people.
Next
And
All right. Did you view that recently?
the video, yes.
Did you edit that video at all, or is it just as you shot it?
The video is just as I shot it.
I'd like to play the video.
No objection. No objection.
So I believe that's number 5. If my memory is correct. Would you play exhibit? Would you play our number 5?
And we're playing the same video again. Nobody's calling. Is that Grant yelling like a little bitch again?
Fine. Just a couple of questions. Is that your voice? We occasionally hear some things like the go look at the mirror.
Yes, that's my voice.
You're interacting with the crowd, so-
Yes,
That
I
was
was.
you being an asshole.
And at the end, is that your shadow that we see?
That is my shadow on the ground, yes.
Is your video?
That is correct.
Now, did you have any discussion with Megan McCabe about both of you videoing? Or was it-
No, I just pulled out my camera and started videoing just because for the safety, who knows? I don't trust anybody. Not sure what would take place. Wanted to make sure I
Judge, no
documented
question
everything.
before the gentleman answer the question.
And what was your purpose in taking the crowd? In taking this?
Just to document what was happening, just in case something happened.
Were you focused on Mr. Kearney?
No, I was not.
Did you see Mr. Kearney as you were walking along? Did you notice it as you were walking
When I was walking along, no. I thought I might have saw him out of the corner of my eye at some point, but no.
along? So did there come a time when you reviewed the video when you did notice Mr. Kearney?
Yes.
And I'd just like to go through a few of those points with you. Could you advance the video to about 0.05? And just for your honest information, there's a couple of frames for every designation. All right,
Are these being entered?
there. Yes.
Madam Clerk, does this video have an existing video?
Not yet, because it hasn't been offered.
I'm happy to offer it.
Awesome, it will be 40. Thank you. Exhibit 40.
And
Cross-examinations in this has been really good
So
so far.
that's paused right there at a shot across the street in front of, I'm assuming that's the Registry of Deeds building. And if you zoom in a little bit on it, it appears to be Mr. Kearney up in the top of the picture.
Objection, Your Honor. There's no way anybody can identify anybody in that video.
Yeah, and hold on here. When we watched part 2 on Wednesday, what was her name? What's her face? Carrie? No, I don't care what her name is. But she said, "Oh, he followed us," and then the very next witness says, "You can see him way over there," contradicting each other. These stupid motherfuckers have. This is. In an alternative universe, in a parallel universe, stupidity causes sterility. And there would be no McCabe kids.
Objection. Next question.
Is this a zoom shot of that frame?
Yes, it is.
I offer.
Any objection, Mr. Britton? To the Zoom? Yes, I do, Judge. It's not what you and I would see. So I object. Objection overruled.
41.
Can you advance the video to 30 in? I think it's probably the 6th frame and 30 in, if that's any help to you with this property. All right, and can you tell us what this shows?
That is a picture of across the street well, it's a still shot from across the street
Next
of the
question.
Registry of Deeds.
You have a Zoom shot of each one of these, Mr.
Well, I have a zoom shot of some of them, Your Honor. Do you recognize this as a zoom shot of the same thing?
Mr. Conto, Mr. Britton, why don't you review the Zoom shot? Sure.
Well, Judge, I think I know what I'm looking at, but I can lodge the objection that it's not what the human eye would see, what the person would see. The aided zooms don't adequately depict the scenario in the sense that it's a person observing and looking around.
What it is where somebody is poised to be. That's all it means.
Thank
All
you.
right, so you're all in.
No, my objection.
All in over the defendant's objection.
All right. So
Yeah, the
And-
defense
and
attorney is
looking at,
absolutely correct.
this-
He had to zoom in to show where Aiden was, allegedly. And Where in the video did you say, "Oh, there's Turtleboy"? Nowhere, because you had no idea. Twat.
This exhibit. Can you tell us if you see Mr. Kearney there?
Yes, I can.
What person you believe to be Mr. Kearney there? But where is he seen?
He is standing up on the lawn in front of the Registry of Deeds building, behind the woman wearing the Minions hat, and two people sitting.
So, in a blow-up photo from a video you took where you never mentioned his name, you claim to see Aiden behind a woman. This is beyond stupid.
on the wall.
And can we advance now to 135 on this one, please? I'm going to show you two photographs.
Are they claiming that's Turtleboy?
First of all, do you recognize the second photograph as an enlargement of the first?
Yes. Yep. And
Can you see someone standing there holding the camera?
yes, I see Mr. Kearney up on the wall, holding his camera, putting the crowd of people that I will work with.
Objection, Your Honor. That's a total mischaracterization. Mr. Carney, if that's Mr. Carney, supposedly, is facing the other way, filming with his back towards the video person.
But that's his testimony, and it can be rebutted in cross and
Sure.
whatever degree.
The court can draw its own
People
conclusion.
offering opinions about what everybody can see. I understand that it's all in, wouldn't come this way with the jury.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
I'm going to show you one final photograph. And I'm sorry, Ms. Crawford.
Yeah, by the
that's,
two first
140.
parts of this trial I streamed, we know they are full of shit.
Yes. Directing your attention to
The fuck?
upper left-hand corner, just in front of, behind the wall, in front of the building. You see a person.
Yes, I see the person there. Mr. Carney.
That's a different color of the jacket, you absolute moron. Oh, for fuck's sake.
When the clerk comes back, this will be the last of them, and I have no further questions.
Thank you. Can I see counsel come up?
Hi, Derek. Good to have you here.
All right, this trial will resume tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Folks, please enter to the front door. Thank you. Thank you.
Luckily, whoever edited this video for Turtleboy, good job.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Matter of the Commonwealth versus Aiden Carney.
You finished your direct examination?
I have, Your Honor.
Colin McCabe.
Wobble in now, Colin.
Ask you to raise your hand. Do you swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
You're Colin McCabe,
That is correct, yes.
and you are related to some of the witnesses in the Karen Reed matter.
Yes, I am.
And who are those folks?
My brother Matthew McCabe and my sister-in-law Jen.
So back on 2/26/24, you were here as part of a group of people going to court in the Karen Reed case, right?
That is correct.
And it was a 2 o'clock hearing.
I don't know what time it is.
So you were there in the afternoon, weren't you?
Yes, I did.
And so you know that the court goes till 1, there's a lunch break from 1 to 2, and then they start up again at 2, right?
Yeah, I have no idea what time. I don't know.
So do you know what time you were here with this group that day?
With this group, I know I'll be in the afternoon. I don't know the timeline exactly.
How did you come to be informed that you should meet at that location?
I spoke to my brother, and I said I'll meet down at the courthouse.
And that's not McCabe?
That is correct.
What was your understanding of what you were going to be there for and what was going to happen that day?
I was coming in to support the OP family and the witnesses in the case, to show a support group.
Have you ever met Lindsay? Had you ever met Lindsay Gattani before that day?
No, I had not.
And when you got there, did you have any conversation with her?
No, I had not.
How many people approximately had gathered at that area behind the registry of deeds?
There
In your group?
was a good sized group. It was kind of broken up into multiple groups. Maybe 20, 30 people, maybe. I have no idea.
And was Paulo Keith there?
I have no idea. He might have been. I have no idea.
So, did someone introduce you to Ms. Gattani?
No, I've never met her.
And you said it broke down into two groups as everyone came towards the courthouse. Is that right?
That is correct.
Who was in your group?
In my group, a couple of people I have no idea who they were. My sister, my aunt, my cousin.
What are the names, please?
My cousin?
Yeah, the names of the people that were in this group.
I don't know everybody that was in the group, but
All the avoidance in the world. Oh, I know nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing. Jesus. Oh.
Kathy Faulkner, my aunt. Shannon Sullivan is my cousin. Megan McCabe is my sister. I think a few of my sister-in-law's sisters were there. I don't know their last names off the top of my head, but Michelle and Denise and everybody else. I don't know who else was there.
What was your understanding of the hearing that was going to happen that day?
My understanding was just a quick hearing that day, go in, see what happens, and then just and then leave.
So you walked towards the courthouse from the registry of deeds, correct?
That is correct.
And which way did you walk? Let's say you're walking towards the courthouse from the registry of deeds. Did you go to the right around the building, or did you go to the left around the building?
Came up the driveway side, so I think that's the left around building. If you're coming from behind, but if you're looking at it, it's to the right. So it depends on what side you're on. Comes on the rear, it's on the left side. If you're looking at the front of the building, it's on the right side.
So can we say it this way, that you came up between this building and the registry?
Yes,
And that's when you came into the court?
that is correct.
What happened when you got inside the court?
When I got inside the court, and then went through the metal detector and everything, came in the building, walked up the set of stairs to where there was a group of people waiting to get into the court.
Did you see Ms. Gattani inside the courthouse at all?
No, I did not. She wasn't in there.
Did you end up getting into the courtroom?
No, there were too many people, and there was that count on the numbers that could get in, so.
So how did Aiden get in there if you were before him in line? I know press pass, but I folks, I'm going to take a stab at this, or maybe more over. What the fuck is that? Oh, there it is. There it is. I'm going to take a little stab at this. Just a teeny tiny stab at this and say, he never passed you, you fucking liar. You made that shit up. You made that shit up, you lying sack of shit. Oh, infuriating.
I was at that back of line, so I did not get in.
To your knowledge, did Mr. Carney get into the court?
Yes.
Oh.
At some point, so just to set this right, you're outside the courtroom, but in the courthouse.
That is correct.
What did you do while you were in the courthouse waiting around?
I just sat there waiting.
How long did it take?
Wasn't long, maybe half hour.
And what happened after half an hour?
Then after that, when court let out, everybody started coming down the stairs. I waited for
It was 10
the
minutes,
to come out, and then
not
I
half an hour.
behind them and exited the courthouse.
Did you see Ms. Gattani as far as exiting the courthouse at all?
At that time, I had no idea who she was, but she was in the group of people that was exiting.
So I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of these observations that you have, that you've offered, are from you looking at video and then realizing stuff later, right?
Me looking at video and realizing, yes.
And one of them is figuring out who Ms. Gattani is, right?
Well, no, when we were in the back parking lot, I then found out who she was when we were back.
So did you recognize her in the courthouse or not?
Yeah, I saw her when she went into the courthouse.
Did she have a piece of paper in her hand?
Yes, she did.
And what was your understanding of why she had a piece of paper in her hand?
My understanding of what that was all taking place when I was standing at the doorway waiting to get in. She had said to the court officer that she had an order against Mr. Carney.
Did you talk to Jennifer McCabe about Ms. Gattani at all?
No, I did not.
It's true that Ms. McCabe was with Ms. Gattani on the way in and on the way out, wasn't she?
She was part of the group, yes.
Did you hear them talking?
No, I did not hear them talking.
Did you hear them approaching the courtroom?
No, they were in a different group than me.
So back to leaving.
So how? Whoa. So how did you hear? If you didn't see them or hear them because they were in a different group of people, how the fuck did you see them go and talk about the restraining order to the court officer? There's something really, really annoying and unnerving with people who can lie this effortless. It means they do it regularly, without hesitation, and with zero moral ambiguity about it. Zero.
You leave the courthouse, and is it still two groups, or is it one big group?
When I left the courthouse, it was one big group.
So Ms. Catani's in that group?
Yes, she was.
Ms. McCabe, Jennifer McCabe's in that group?
Yes, she was.
And you're in that group?
Yes, I was.
And how many people roughly in the group?
I don't know, probably about 25 people maybe.
And when you were leaving, the hearing had concluded, and a lot of people were streaming out of the courthouse, weren't
Yes,
they? Some people went to the right down the handicap ramp, some people went down straight, right?
that is correct.
There was probably over 100 people out in front of the courthouse when you left, right?
There was probably more than that, sir.
More than that. Okay. And you and your group went out of the courthouse and you went down the handicap ramp, right?
That is correct.
And you came to the bottom of the handicap ramp, and you were
Mr. McCabe, if your pants fall down while standing, yeah, you need to get better clothing. I mean, I'm not a small guy. I mean, I'm probably taller than him. Probably the same weight, but taller. I don't have to adjust my pants just by standing still, because I know how to dress myself. Jesus.
following with some of the protesters out there, weren't you?
Yes, some things were being said to me, and I responded to the things that were being said.
Sure. And you called somebody retarded, and you said something about somebody could be committed or something. You're waiting for them to be committed, right?
Yes, might not have been the best choice of words at that time, and I'm regret saying that.
Aww.
And as you're leaving, Ms. Catani's in your group, and everyone's sort of walking together away from the courthouse, right?
Correct, to go across the street to where the cops are talking about.
Right. So everyone's walking at first along High Street towards Dedham Center, right?
That's the name of the street. I don't know the name of the street, but
Let's do it this way. The street in front of the courthouse.
yes,
You exit, you get to the bottom of the handicap ramp, you make a right, you're walking towards town.
yes,
You're kind of walking towards this building,
yes,
but across the street.
correct.
Then you get to the crosswalk, you walk over to the same side of the street that this building's on, right?
Yes,
And then you walk down that little street that's in between this building and the registry of deeds building, right?
yes.
So all this time, you're walking away from the courthouse,
Walk away from, yes,
and you're walking away from the registry of deeds building, I should say the front of the registry of deeds building.
At least he answers that one somewhat correctly. Remember the last witness who said, yes, but he was still following us. Yes, but he was still following us.
well, no, technically when we're crossing the street, I'm walking towards the registry of deeds building. And then as we're walking down the side of the street, then yes, I'm not walking away from the registry of deeds until I get to
Right, so you get to the side of it, you're walking along the building, away from the front of the building, right?
that is correct.
And show you some photos. May I approach her? Just going to show you these three photographs. I've shown these to counsel. Take a look at those. Some of you can familiarize yourself with those. Okay. Are those close-ups of you and your group leaving the courthouse?
Yes.
Yep,
Are
this
they
is Colin
fair and
McCabe.
accurate representations of your and your group's departure from the courthouse that day?
Oh, this one here? Yes. These ones right here? I don't know exactly where he's at.
Well, do they show the same people that you were with that day?
There was multiple people there. It shows a few of the same people that I was with that day. I don't know if it's everybody.
And so it can be agreed as a partial representation of some of the people in the group when you left?
Yes.
I offer these judges in this exhibits.
No objection.
Exhibit 41, 42, and 43.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can we just take those back for a brief moment and then I'll look into it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to show you exhibit 41. Who's the gentleman in the red there?
I'm thinking that's me.
Okay. And that's a picture of your group department, right?
That is right.
All right. And then Exhibit 42. Who do you recognize in the photo? In that photo,
I recognize my sister-in-law.
names, please.
That is John McCabe. I recognize, I don't know her name, but it appears to be my sister-in-law's cousin. And I recognize one of my sister-in-law's sisters. I'm not sure which one it is, either Denise or Michelle. Terrible one.
That's
No, one there.
That's
And I think there might be a side view of maybe my sister, but I can't 100%.
Thank you. This is Exhibit 42 for the record. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Exhibit 43. And who do you recognize in that photo?
I see that appears to be Chris and Albert. One of my sister-in-law's sisters, either Denise or Michelle. And then that's one of my sister-in-law's brother-in-laws. That's Bob. And then I see, looks like my sister-in-law's cousin. I'm not sure her name. I see beside one of my sister-in-law's sisters, which is Denise and Michelle. And then that appears to be Lindsay Giattani in the side.
Exhibit 43. Thank you.
Thank you.
So when you walked out, there was a pretty raucous crowd, yelling and screaming. You're engaging with them. They're giving it to you, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty chaotic situation. Yes.
And you never heard anyone yelling "liar, liar," did you?
I don't know what I heard. I only heard a couple things being stated to myself, and those are the things I responded to. Sure.
Now, in all the video you looked at, all the photos you dealt with, there's no photo, there's no representation of Mr. Carney and Ms. Giattani in the same frame with the same video. Isn't that correct?
From the photos you just sent me, no.
From everything you looked at, you said that you looked at some things to figure out what happened, right?
Well, yes, in one of the in the video that I took.
So it's a yes or no question. I'm not asking you for a narrative. I'm asking you if in all those reviews you saw any frames, pictures, stills of Mr. Carney and Ms. Giattani in the same picture or still.
So not a video, just a still.
Any of them.
Well, in the video,
A still of a video or a photograph. There's no
like
picture
a photo.
where they're both in.
Ta fucking da.
So were you aware that day that Ms. Giattani had a restraining order against Mr. Carney?
I heard about that after the fact.
So at the time you didn't know?
Oh,
No, I had no idea.
you want to know about me? Oh, yeah. I have a big influx of new people here the last week and a half. Sorry. Hi, folks. Nick here. I'm a jurist. I do labor and employment law over in Sweden, and my English is very American. Well, yeah, I've been doing this channel for over 2.5 years. At the beginning, I didn't sound like this. My English was a bit poorer and a bit more British. But I mean, after all the people I've met, I mean, Aiden, Andrea, Melanie, Dave, all the people I had on my show throughout the years. I mean, you pick it up. You pick it up. And so, yeah, and I've been doing this for over 2.5 years, and I'm loving it. Because in my line of law, everything is so stoic. It's so serious. I mean, you more or less look like I have a resting serial killer face, which doesn't work for me. So I'd rather do this with you guys having fun because, folks, I've been doing my line of law for over 30 years. And all of a sudden, with this channel, I can express myself. Oh. So that's a little bit about me. And I cover cases. I cover trials. I'm most known for covering the YSL RICO trial, the Young Thug RICO trial, from gavel to gavel. 2 years of my life covering that trial. Hey. So that's a little bit more about me. All right. Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. Let's continue with this piece of garbage. Let's go back a bit.
So were you aware that day that Mr. Carney had a restraining order against Mr. Carney?
I heard about that after the fact.
So at
After the
time, you didn't
fact.
No, I had no idea.
So how did you know that she showed it to the court officer? Yeah.
Did you speak to Paul Keith that day at all?
No, I did not.
Yeah, well, thank you. Nothing further. Sir. Thank you.
Oh.
No redirect. May the witness be excused if he wishes to leave.
Okay, so Colin McCabe
Colonel,
out the
come
door,
on.
wobbling.
Just going to address the motion of quash.
Thank you.
Counsel, thank you for your patience. We don't be on this right now. Have you folks talked at all? You remember the court's partial ruling is that the motion of quash is denied as relates to testimony.
Yes, he's our third or fourth witness, I think, Your Honor. And we would like to get a look at his text messages with these other people about this notion of inviting Ms. Kearney with a restraining order to this court session.
What's the witness's position related to that on motion of quash?
Oh.
Let me speak, if I may, Your Honor, because I've sat here for a couple days, and I think I understand the case a little bit better than I did before it started. This is still a Rule 17 subpoena. Relevance is still relevant. At the beginning, I said to you, Your Honor, and I can see that you're the witness. I agree with that time before I heard what has come up today. If I understand the facts correctly, the operative time frame is leaving the property. I accept that there was testimony that came in yesterday that there may have been some communication with my client about arriving at the courthouse that day. But the question for this case is what happens when leaving the courthouse, going back to the registry of deeds, and whether there's a violation of an order. I've looked at every one of those photos, every one of those videos. My client is nowhere to be found. He was not there. He is no longer a recipient witness to those facts.
What's your position on Mr. Grado seeking some of these phone records? You're opposed.
I oppose it vehemently. I mean, he's asked for unlimited scope by four different people.
We're going to talk about that.
We did talk, Judge, and I narrowed the request to 30 days prior. And
What's your offer of proof of what you believe is going to be relevant from that?
sure. So we contend, Judge, that there's a conspiracy between Ms. Kearney, Mr. O'Keefe, Ms. Jennifer McCabe, and probably other members of the Albert and McCabe family to, now that Mr. Carney's out of jail, a couple days out of jail, they know that she has a restraining order. They invite her to the courthouse to kick Mr. Carney out of there and sort of exact some revenge on Mr. Carney, interfere with his reporting, et cetera. So what do we have for that? We have,
Let's assume that's the case.
okay,
Where does that go relative to this charge? My
Sure.
goal is a judge only.
sure. Well, it goes to credibility, Your Honor, in terms of that they're trying to create a restraining order violation.
Bad motive.
Yep, bad
Now, where
motive.
do we go from here? Relative to this charge?
Yeah.
Bad motive.
So Ms. Kearney testified that she was invited by Mr. O'Keefe or the O'Keefe family. She involved another nemesis of Mr. Carney, Kate Peter, that she was the broker of this thing. And, Paul O'Keefe is sitting in the courtroom. He's on video and it's in evidence, walking in with Ms. Kearney. And I think he's a relevant witness to what transpired and why it
He's
transpired.
going to be in this courtroom testifying.
Right.
But as far as the prelude to that,
Right. Well, it's a conspiracy, so they had to have communicated. And, we want the communications of how this was set up to try to create a situation that Mr. Carney would fall into the trap.
I appreciate your offer. I'm going to deny the text message rule 17, but you are going to be able to call as a witness. I don't know what the timing is across the street. I want to be obviously sensitive to it, but we have to move on, so we'll keep that in mind. So motion to quash is denied as it relates to him as a testimonial witness. It's allowed as it relates to documents.
Thank you, Your Honor. He's present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You rest.
Motion for required.
Okay, so there's at this point in time, in this specific case again with Lindsay, she clearly got invited somehow, some way. Now, I do believe they have some of the text messages, but they want more. Of course, they want more. But the prosecution here and then the lawyer of some of the witnesses are really, really careful. And now I understand better why they are so hesitant to talk truthfully. Because once they do, everything opens up. Everything opens up. And the motion to quash from the state is probably they do not want Paul O'Keefe to testify. And it was denied.
I'm not guilty, Your Honor. We've already. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that. So, Judge, even in the light most favorable to the Commonwealth in this case, Judge, there's no evidence of any criminal intent. There's no evidence whatsoever that Mr. Carney was trying to violate any court order. Mr. Carney did everything right. He was at his place of work. And again, no different than if he's at the Exxon station down the street in the mechanic space. He's working. She knew he was going to be there. She goes there to evict him. He goes with it. He gets up and leaves. And he walks a circuitous route down away and he checks in with the government. This is the key point here, Judge. This is what's fatal to the government's case. He checks in with a policeman. He reveals the situation. The policeman says, go over there for now. He goes over there. Then things change. The hearing ends early. She comes down. Hundreds of people come down, over 100 people, however you want to see it. You have the video, you've seen it. People come out. Everyone's got a black coat on. Everyone's got black glasses on, black hair. It's a sea of people. Mr. Carney's there. He's live streaming. He's talking about what just happened to him. And he's in the general vicinity of where the policeman told him to go. I would suggest that as a matter of law, the government is stopped from then prosecuting him for doing what they told him to do. And, you know, the only reason we're here is because of the poisonous atmosphere that surrounds these cases with respect to the Norfolk County DA's office and my client and the Reed matter. Any reasonable prosecutorial agency judge would look at the case and say, wait a minute, they're saying there was a violation 10 minutes ago. A cop was there 10 minutes later and they don't report it. And it's just a ridiculous scenario that if they had seen him, in other words, if there was contact, they would have made sure he got arrested. And this is all reverse engineered. They looked at the video later on. They saw that he was there. And then they called, hey, he was there. We just looked at the video. And they trying to create contact after the fact, Your Honor. Mr. Carney is not doing anything outside of what he was told to do. He left. He walked that route. He went right to a policeman. He was told to go somewhere and he went there. He was waiting there, Judge. The evidence will show, if we have to do a defense case, the evidence will show that he was waiting there to report to the officer who was busy at the time. He didn't want to go off alone because he didn't know where she was going to go. That's his state of mind with respect to Cady, is that he doesn't know what she's capable of. He doesn't know what she's going to do next. He just got out of jail from her locking him up for 60 days. So he wants to stay with the policeman. He stayed where the government told him. He wanted to get a chance to report and document and get the officer to take some notes and write a report about what had just happened. He didn't want to go off this direction or that direction or to a car or whatever because he didn't want to end up like Frank Keegan. He didn't want to end up at her.
Yeah, I understand him. The problem here for the defense is that Colin McCabe just testified, oh, I see him there. Even though you cannot identify those pixelated photo to be anyone. Anyone.
At her mercy, she goes to him, she calls the cops. He had just seen that video, the evidence would show if we had to do a defense case. He had just seen that video a few days earlier, and he sees what she's capable of. He's terrified of this woman. He doesn't want to engage with her. He doesn't want to provoke her. He doesn't want to give her any ammo whatsoever. That's what the evidence showed here in the Commonwealth's case, is that he did everything right. He followed the Commonwealth's representative at the time's directions, and that should end the case, Your Honor. So that, as a matter of law, I respectfully submit, should require the court to enter a required finding based on the government's actions, based on the unequivocal, uncontested testimony surrounding Officer Crump, that he said, go over there for now, and he did that. So I'd ask you to dismiss the case, Judge.
Mr. Bradle has just treated Your Honor to a lot of pseudo-testimony about the defendant's state of mind, and he's focused on his defense. He said very little about the Commonwealth's evidence, but if Your Honor were instructing the jury, I believe if you follow the model jury instructions, you would instruct the jury that there are 4 things that the Commonwealth has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. 1, that a court issued a protective order. That's not even in dispute, I think, Your Honor. 2nd, that the order is in effect on the date the violation occurred. That's not in dispute either. 3rd, that the defendant knew the order was in effect. I think we know that, if nothing else, from Mr. Bradle's conversation with the police officer, that he knew the order was in effect. And finally, that the defendant violated the order by failing to stay 100 yards away. I'll talk about that if necessary, but in the meantime, as to Mr. Kearney's state of mind, the law is that violation of a no-contact order requires no showing of mens rea other than knowledge of the order itself. That's Commonwealth versus Fanassi, 435 Mass at 312, Your Honor. There is no requirement of a showing on the Commonwealth's part of intent on the part of the defendant to violate the order. That's Commonwealth versus Delaney, 425 Mass at 596 to 5.
What a restraining order goes both ways. So what the prosecution here is saying, well, he has to stay away. Yeah, but he was there first. So now, had Miss Gaetani been there at the court steps as Aiden parked and started walking, then he couldn't go near. Then he wouldn't have gone near the courtroom, the courthouse. But this is the other way around. That has to be included in this. That she created this situation.
597. There is no proof that the defendant intended an act that resulted in the violation. That's Commonwealth versus Cologne, 427 Mass at 388. All the Commonwealth has to show is that there was an order that said he had to stay 100 yards away. And if he knew where she was or had an idea where she was, he didn't stay 100 yards away. I said in my opening statement, Your Honor, that the defendant did the right thing. When he saw Ms. Gaetani enter the courtroom, he got up and he left. And if he had kept on going, it would have been fine. He should have kept on going until he got 100 yards away. We can argue about whether or not going down the stairs constitutes the yardage or whether it's a straight line or whatever. But the fact is, whichever way you calculate it, when Ms. Cady walks out of that courtroom in full view of the defendant, he's about 35 yards away. And he remains 35 yards away. And by the way, he's not.
And Mr. Jingles just walked inside again, and he brought a mouse, which he is currently chasing around. Yay! Yay for outdoor cats on a farm. Hello, Mr. Jingles. Did you just leave the mouse roaming free over there? Hello, folks. This here is Mr. Jingles. He is the actual owner of this channel. He runs everything, and everything here is done for him. And yeah, the channel. So it's more me who is the channel mascot, but he just doesn't like to talk to the camera and stuff. All right, back to trial.
Staying where the police officer told him to stay. The police officer pointed over towards the street, according to his own testimony, and thought that Mr. Kearney was headed in that direction, and then his attention was drawn to the traffic. There's no testimony that he ever came back to consult with the police officer further, or that he was afraid to leave. Rather, all the evidence, including the photos, shows Mr. Kearney following along Ms. Cady as she proceeds down the street and getting even closer to him by the end of that journey, so he's well within 100 yards. I introduced some photographs of Ms. Cady, Your Honor, that Mr. Kearney posted the next day on the blog.
Oh, I did. Hello, Maggie. Hello, Maggie Lee says, in Massachusetts and many states, it doesn't matter if he's there first. He's expected to leave. Really? That's a shit statute. That's a really, really shit statute.
I think there are about 26 of them. I don't know why somebody who's terrified of Ms. Cady
okay, that is why they are arguing place of work. Meaning that it is unavoidable for him because he has to work. Okay, now I get that part.
Filing all those photographs the very next day on his blog. Apparently he managed to overcome his terror somehow. But in any case, I recall Mr. Bradle objecting that he didn't object to the photographs as long as there was no implication that Mr. Kearney took them himself. Well, I don't know whether he took them himself, Your Honor, but I do know that in every single photograph we introduce from those videos of Mr. Kearney, he's standing there opposite Ms. Cady holding up his cell phone camera. So he's well within 35 yards. I would suggest that not only has the Commonwealth proved its case beyond the directed verdict standard, it's proved its case well beyond reasonable doubt at this point.
So if I could just have one brief response. Nice job in the case law, but you have to know the person's there. There's knowledge. You can't just be, it's not strict liability. If the government can prove they're within 100 yards of each other, that's not it. There has to be contact. There's no contact. The government can't prove contact. And the government is, speculating about where they were relative to each other. They have no evidence whatsoever before you that where they were relative to each other and when. There's no evidence of it. And even in the light most favorable to the Commonwealth, they've not made it to that threshold that a rational jury would go in that direction. So I ask you to dismiss it. Thank you.
Appreciate the motion. The motion is denied. Are you putting it as a defense?
Yes,
Yeah,
Judge. Meredith.
motions of directed verdict is extremely rare to get approved. Okay, so that was the state's case, I assume, since they had the directed verdict. Now it's the defense case.
Do you swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Thank you.
Hello.
Nanny Quarry. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
State name, spell your last name.
Meredith O'Neill, O''Neil.
I know where you live, Mrs. General.
I live in South Boston.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a CPA.
And who do you work for?
I work for a large financial institution and do private equity financial holdings.
And what's your educational background?
I obtained a bachelor's in science in management and French from UMass, and then a master's in accounting and MBA from Northeastern University.
How long have you been in town?
12 years.
And do you know Aiden Carney?
I do.
How do you know Mr. Carney?
He's my boyfriend.
And how long have you known him?
Oh,
About 18 months.
How long have you known him?
oh, Aiden.
You know
Aiden.
that he's charged here today with violating a restraining order, right?
Yes,
And you were with him that day, weren't you?
I was.
Tell us how that came about that you and he were together and coming together on 2/26/24.
Sure. So there was a hearing to hear a motion to dismiss at the Kearney case. We both have obviously been following the trial for quite some time, so we decided to attend the hearing together.
And just for the record, so the factual background is clear, Mr. Carney is probably the most prolific commentator and journalist investigator
Objection.
on the Carney case. Is that a fair statement?
Thank you, Bree. Yes, it came in under your husband's name, and it's the equivalent of $5. Thank you so much. That is very, very nice of you. Very, very nice of you. And that brings us to a combined $40. And as soon as we reach $50 in combined PayPal, Supers, memberships, we will get to the Wheel of Regrets. What's the Wheel of Regrets, you might ask? Well, this is the Wheel of Regrets. Yeah, this is Friday entertainment. Hot sauces or shots of booze. So if you want to see me absolutely smashed in the end of this stream, you know what to do. Now, I do not grift other than specifically Fridays. Other than that, everything is very welcomed and never necessary. I mean, I do all right for myself, and a few of my videos brings in some ad revenue that keeps this channel running. So, always appreciated, never necessary. And here's Snivels with 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Snivels. And that in itself is worth $30. And which brings us $20 past, or 10. $10 past. So this means, before that, you who just received a gifted memberships, you now have access to all my members-only content. Most of the videos I publish are for members first. So you get preview of almost all videos I publish. You also have your own emojis on YouTube. And if you go to my page on YouTube, you will have a link specifically for members to my Discord. All of that for $3 a month. All right, let's spin it. The Wheel of Regrets. And it is a shot of gin. Let's see here. I'm going to use my Georgia shot glass. I'm almost out of gin. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. But Karen Reed, go on with your life. Do good, do well, do everything. Aiden, hopefully, within reasonable amount of time, you will go free as well from this bullshit. Cheers. Woo. Nom nom nom. Oh wow. Whew. Whew. All right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Cheers. All right. Back to. Damn, Aiden, you did good there. You traded up. You really, really traded up. Hi, Dave. It is 5 hours from Lego. Yes. Are you going to be drinking and streaming for 5 hours before you have to build a Lego against Steph? Yes. I have to give Steph a head start. Yeah. For you who don't know, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, me and Steph, the Alter Nerd, will go head to head on building Lego. we already have one match, which she won by seconds, and I claim foul play. So we're having a rematch. So it is Viking versus girl from Viking colony, Britain. And this stream, I will redirect you to that one, depending on what shape I am in. All right, let's listen more to Aiden's hot girlfriend.
And you actually do too, right?
Yes.
Comment on Twitter or X about it here and there, right? And you assist him with that endeavor as well?
Yes, sometimes.
So on that date, there was an afternoon hearing on your lead matter, right?
Yes, 2 o'clock.
And at the time, Mr. Carney had just gotten out of jail a couple of days earlier, right?
Yes,
And that was from a case that was out of this court, right? You know a little bit about it, right?
yes.
And then you know that the charge in that case was among the charges in that case was the charge of assault and battery, right?
Your Honor, this is Mr. Brady's witness.
I'm just trying to move it along for some preliminary
But
matters.
it's leading, but it's all, we all know most of this anyway. Let's go.
So on the day of 2/26, how do you and Mr. Carney come together?
We rode to the court together with our friend Brett Goldstein.
And what was the plan that day among you guys to watch this hearing?
The plan was to go into the hearing so that Aiden could cover the case and report on it, and then to leave after it.
Where did you park when you got there?
I parked in the direction of the case.
And did Aiden have a car in some other location as well?
Yes, about 10 minutes down the road, he parked, so I met him because he was coming from his house, and then we drove together.
Then you drove together closer.
But correct, the registry of deeds
And where did you park your car?
in the registry of deeds parking lot.
So in like the back of the building, behind the building?
Yes.
Did he leave some items in the car when you guys departed the car?
Yes, his computer and his car key.
So what was your path, the three of you, what was your path to the Norfolk Superior Court?
Into the courthouse, we walked around, I believe, this building, between this building and the registry, across the street, and crosswalk up to the request house around 1:30.
Was there anything unusual that occurred in the walk, or was it just the typical assemblage of people outside?
Not all very typical, just supporters of Karen and being outside.
And did you have some conversation with them, or did you see Mr. Carney having a conversation with them?
Yes, many conversations.
Do you know who Lindsay Gattani is?
I do.
And did you see her outside anywhere during your arrival into the courthouse?
No, we would have immediately left.
What happened when you got into the courthouse?
When we went in, it was still about 1:30. We weren't letting people in just yet, so we went through security and then went upstairs and waited in a line before they started letting people in about 10 minutes before.
Did you and Aiden and Mr. Goldstein, did the three of you get into the court hearing?
Yes, we did.
And where did you go when you got in?
We sat in, I believe, the third row, towards the outside of the row.
And if you were looking up at the bench, at the judge's bench, were you on the left or the right?
We were on the left side.
All right, so kind of near the windows on the left.
Correct.
Did you sit in the same row as Mr. Carney or a different
The same row.
row? What time did you sit down roughly, if you remember?
I believe it was would have been 1:50 shortly before the two lost our time.
Did you have any knowledge of the hearing that was about to commence and what kind of hearing it was?
Yes, it was a motions hearing. There were several motions to be heard, including the motion to dismiss.
So was this the type of hearing that you anticipated would be 5 or 10 minutes or a longer type of hearing?
I expected a couple hours, which is why I took the afternoon off from work.
So you were sitting down. Did the hearing commence at about 2:01 in the afternoon?
That sounds right.
And right around the time that it commenced, did you see Ms. Gattani?
I did. I turned around and saw her.
Where did you first see her?
I saw her enter the courtroom with several other witnesses in the Karen case.
And just to summarize, you've seen video of this and you're aware that there's video and evidence about.
Yeah, I never understood why witnesses in the Karen Reed trial were allowed in on a hearing about the Karen Reed trial. I never understood that, because there should have been it should have been an order keeping them out. Because if they are in there listening to motions, they get information they shouldn't have. But Judge Bev allowed it, I assume. Oh, and thank you again to Thomas for your $10 via PayPal. That we were 10 over. With Dave, we went 20 over, and with this, 30 over. So we are $20 from the next spin on the Wheel of Regrets.
This very
Thank you
snapshot
so
of time,
much
right?
again.
Okay. And you remember it though, right? All right, so we're going to just go with your testimony. So when you turned around and you saw Ms. Gattani, what did you see? Set the scene for us.
I noticed right away Jen McCabe and right now it'd be Matt McCabe and some other family members. So immediately noticed Jen McCabe and her, and turned to Aiden and said, Lindsay's here, we have to leave now.
Did you notice whether she had anything in her hand?
She had a piece of paper.
Did You make any eye contact with her or communicate with her in any way?
No, as soon as I started from the bar, I just said, "Yeah, go down, stood up."
When you turned around to see Ms. Katani, you were looking kind of towards the back of the room?
Yes, I've been turning over my right
You kind of had to turn over your shoulder. What about Mr. Carney? Did you see him, whether he was looking with you or whether he was looking straight ahead?
He was looking at me because he was not hurt. I was just looking to see who was coming in, just wanting to see if any of the Judge McCabe or the other witnesses that he.
Just listen to the question you asked. Just answer that question and just wait for the next one.
So when you, right at this snapshot of time, when you're looking back at Ms. Katani, you see Mr. Carney. Did Mr. Carney react in any verbal way, to your knowledge, when he saw or you saw Ms. Katani?
No, nothing directed at her.
Did he get up?
He did get up and said, "Guys, I have to leave." So
Was he facing the direction of Ms. Katani when he said that? Or was he facing the direction of some other people in the room?
he was face forward still, so not anywhere near her.
And what happened next, right next?
We got out and we had to, there was some people also standing in there in between us, the crowd standing between us, and we left, walked out the door, headed downstairs.
Did anyone have to tell you or Mr. Carney what to do?
No, I told him to leave, we left her without speaking to our officers.
What was the time period that went by from the time Katani walked in the room till you and Aiden had walked out of the room?
Seconds, under 20 seconds.
Where did you see Ms. Katani go when she came into the room, if you saw?
I didn't even look because I just said, like I saw her walking out, I wanted us to get out of there.
Did you see, do you know who Paul O'Keefe is?
I do.
Did you see Mr. O'Keefe in there? If you remember.
I don't believe so. He's looking at videos after the fact, and I can't say that at that time, when I was walking out, I saw any of them because I was just focused on getting out.
Sure. In the 10 minutes or so that you were waiting there, can you recall, looking around the courtroom and seeing who was around?
I think somebody will be maybe been there before, but certainly not Mr. Connie or Judge Keith, who walked out after they.
So you leave with Mr. Carney out the door of the courtroom.
Correct.
Where do you go?
We head down the stairs, the security area where we came in, and a couple people stopped us and talked.
Excuse me. Just gonna listen to the question you asked.
So you walk outside and you're going to leave the courtroom?
Yes.
As you guys leave, did anybody from the Alberts or McCabe's or O'Keefe's make any comments about you or Aiden having to leave?
Chris Albert,
Objection, relevance.
What did Chris Albert say?
he said something like, "That's a EITCH, huh?" At me and Aiden.
Where did you go, just physically, where did you go when you left the courtroom?
We went downstairs.
Did you speak with anybody as you were leaving?
One woman, Coach Aiden,
What was Mr. Carney's kind of demeanor when he was leaving?
he was in a state of anxiety. He wanted to get out of there.
Objection to the characterization and to what he wanted.
Anxiety stays the rest of us. Next question.
When you say he was in a state of anxiety, can you give us some things that you observed about him that made you conclude he was in a state of anxiety?
He was shaking, he was walking fast, he was worried she was gonna fall down. He told me he was worried she was gonna fall down.
So you get down the stairs to the first floor, and what happens on the first floor?
A woman approached us and gave some information about entering the courthouse before she.
Do you know that lady by any chance?
Yes, her name's Jill Dadman.
Was that in the vicinity of the metal detectors, or where was that on the first
Right
floor?
around
Just
the
generally?
metal detector area.
Did you stay with Aiden for that, or did you go ahead of him, or were you still together, or what?
I stayed with him.
You exited the court, the front doors of the courthouse,
Correct.
and what was the scene that you first saw when you went outside?
There was a smaller crowd of people outside, so I only went because a lot of people had gone to the hearing, but there were these round people, were also police officers.
Approximately how long after 2 o'clock were you guys standing outside?
Probably within 2:06, 2:07.
A few minutes after 2:01 or so, a few minutes later?
Yes.
What did you see Mr. Carney do when he came out of the courthouse?
He immediately walked up to a police officer across the street,
Where was the police officer?
directing traffic in the crosswalk.
So that's kind of is that a busy area there, or is that a quiet area?
It's a busy area.
So did Mr. Carney stay on the court side of the street, or did he walk to the registry side of the street?
He walked to the registry side.
Did he try to have a quick conversation with the officer?
Yes.
And what did you see?
I saw the officer, he explained the restraining order situation to the officer, and the officer said, "Go over there for now."
And did you see any physical gesture that accompanied that statement?
Yes, he pointed towards registry deeds.
Okay, so he kind of made a physical gesture pointing in that direction? And did you see Mr. Carney do anything in response to that gesture?
He went over towards registry deeds, the actual building.
All right, and did he, where did he stand in relation to the actual facade of the registry of deeds building?
He was all the way up against the wall, as far away as possible.
Oh, I expect
Did you and Mr.
Cosgrove to
Carney
be an
intend
asshole.
to do anything at that time period to memorialize what had just happened inside?
Objection to what she thinks.
The formal question.
What was
Well, this is a good question. Harry Dracusil saying, I'm late. Hearing and not watching. Why is the witness standing up? Well, in this case, it is a bench trial, which means that the judge is both the interpreter of law and the fact finder, which means that he wants the witnesses facing him so he can observe the witnesses as a fact finder. Normally, they are beside him. so the jury can see the witnesses. But now, since he is the jury, he wants to see them. So they are standing up and facing him.
The plan between you and Mr. Carney about what to do about what happened inside.
The plan was to get a police report taken. I insisted on memorializing what happened in there to ensure that Ms. Kearney wasn't going to state what happened and make it sound that would be some type of violation.
At some point, was Mr. Carney reporting, doing his job, I guess, about what had just happened to him?
Yes, he started live streaming as soon as we left the courthouse, and we both agreed it was a good idea so that everything was documented in case Ms. Kearney came back out with all of them.
And what is live stream?
It's just when you have a camera and you conduct a live video to an audience, other teams or some kind of social media platform.
Was Mr. Carney live streaming, to your knowledge, as he came down the courthouse steps?
He was.
Was he live streaming when he was talking to the officer?
Yes.
Did he continue to live stream as he followed the directions of the officer?
Yes, he did.
When he got to the facade of the registry, was he still live streaming?
He was.
Did you want to get involved with him in his live streaming at the time?
No, I purposely kind of stayed out of pictures. I didn't want to be on the live stream.
At some point, did hundreds of people stream out of the courthouse?
Yes, a few minutes later,
How much time had passed between when, let's say, when he gets to the facade and then when hundreds of people come out of the courthouse?
probably 1 or 2 minutes, not long at all.
Was that an expected, strike that, was that the departure of the folks that you saw in the courtroom earlier?
Yes.
Did you expect that hearing to end, causing all those people to leave?
No, it was supposed to be a couple hours long, and I was expecting that my friend was still in there, came with us.
You mentioned that the officer that Mr. Carney spoke with was in a little bit of a busy area, right? Did it get less busy or did it get more busy when those hundreds of people came out?
It got way more busy.
With this event occurring, did it get more difficult or less difficult to get the officer's ear to get something going with respect to the police report?
More difficult.
And was Mr. Carney continuing to live stream?
He was for a period of time, yes, and then I think, yeah, it was until later.
Did many of those hundreds of people kind of come across the street to the registry?
Yes,
Do many of those people know and communicate with you and Mr. Carney?
yes, they all began to talk to us.
And they do typically on a regular basis.
Yeah.
These are people that you guys know, supporters, friends, colleagues, acquaintances, right? Did you and Mr. Carney kind of separate off from each other in terms of talking to these people and doing whatever you guys are doing?
Yes, at one point we did this everything.
And where were you and where was he to your knowledge?
He was still around that same area near Grove Street where the officers told him to go. At one point, my friend Brad, who I came with, came out of cooking, we wanted a little bit towards the parking lot.
At some point, did you see Lindsay Gattani and her group come out of the courthouse?
I didn't see her coming out of the courthouse.
Was it something that was open and obvious, or was it something that was mixed in with everyone else coming out?
Just to see people all wearing coats in the winter, so.
Was there something unusual about, the colors? Was there contrasting colors? Was there a majority of similar clothing, or what was the scene?
A lot of dark winter, black winter coats.
Did you, at some point, when they came out, when Gattani and her group came out, were you paying attention to Mr. Carney at that time?
I don't know exactly when she came out. The only time I saw her was when I went back to my car in the parking lot to try and get some stuff from there.
So before you left, did you, and when you were in the vicinity of Mr. Carney, did you ever hear him calling anyone a liar, screaming out liar, liar?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever see him make any outward manifestations that he had seen or spoke to Ms. Gattani?
No.
And was he still live streaming?
Yeah.
When you live stream, do you hold up your phone in a similar fashion as you would when you're videoing someone or photographing someone?
He holds it up to his face.
So is it a similar way or is it dissimilar?
It's different because it's clearly you're trying to get yourself, not something else.
And was he doing that to your observation that day? So you were able to discern that he was holding it towards himself versus memorializing the scene.
Right.
At what point do you and Mr. Goldstein decide to go head towards the rear of the building?
Within a minute or two of everybody getting out, I think he came down, we quickly chatted, and then we went to my car because he left his coat there.
Okay. So did you say that you saw Ms. Gattani in the back parking lot?
I did. She was already there by the time I got there, but I didn't immediately see her. Brad, when I stepped out of my car, Brad pointed out and said, "There she is." And it took me a few seconds to even to recognize her. She was with another group of women and pretty much wearing the same thing, so it took me a little while far to see her. But
She was parked all the way at the far end of the registry of deeds parking lot, right?
she was further towards the end than I was. I was, I was closer to that one a little bit.
More than a football field away from the registry building, or about a football field, or less than a football field from the registry building, from the back of the registry building?
Probably see.
So she was almost to the back of that registry parking lot?
Yes.
Was the rest of her group also parked there and congregated there?
They were all congregated there. I don't know where the others parked, but they were parked together.
So if Mr. Carney, when he left, if he had gone to the back of that parking lot, he would have been going right to where Gattani was going.
Objection.
It was the same location as where Gattani went, right?
Objection.
We have a picture. Next question.
When Mr. Carney went to the back with you, was Cady still there or was she gone?
That was much later. No, I went back and found him. When I saw her after, I immediately texted him and said, "Do not come back here."
Okay, so then you go back to where Mr. Carney is?
He was all the way on Court Street down to the right of Superior Court where Karen and her team parked. He was down that way.
All right, so he had departed and gone the other way?
He wasn't anywhere near the street.
And that would be as you're looking at North Superior Court, the street to the right along the side of the court.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And you went and found him?
I did.
Did you bring him his items?
I did.
When Ms. O'Neill, was the first time you saw Mr. Cady? Departing the court?
In the parking lot.
In the back of the building?
Yes.
What were your observations of her demeanor? Was she gesturing? Was she looking back? Was she looking forward? What were your observations?
She was with a group of other people. Somewhere I started laughing and smiling.
Did anyone in the group appear to be agitated or upset by anything that may have transpired?
Not at all.
We have one more. Thank you very much.
All right. Now I understand that Cosgrove is especially assholery during cross-examination.
You know, I think you told Mr. Brady that you've been known defendant for a couple of years and that you've been dating for about 18 months.
That's correct.
Did you know why he was dating this time?
He really did.
Really? You don't much like Mr. Cady, do you?
Well, what he really lied.
That wasn't the question. Did you hear the question?
Yes.
What was the question?
Do I like Mr. Cady?
Yes. Now try my question.
Of course I don't like her.
Thank you.
Ta fucking da.
Did you execute an affidavit in some view June 5th of this year?
I did.
And did you say in some view paragraph 3? Actually, I'll show it to you first. And you can ignore what I circled. Just take a minute to read that.
All right, number 3.
Yeah, just read it, please. So did you say in number 3 of your affidavit, at approximately 2:05, I turned around and saw Lindsay Kearney into the courtroom holding a white piece of paper in her hand, immediately told Aiden we needed to leave. We were surprised to see her there because she never attended a Karen Reed hearing prior to that and was not friends with any of the witnesses or the victim's parents.
That's correct.
By the way, have you attended all of the Karen Reed hearings at that point?
Most of them, not all.
Then you don't know of your personal knowledge.
Oh,
of Mr.
fuck
Kearney's
off.
any previous hearings or not, do you?
I do from watching the, I watched every single hearing.
Oh, you kept a vigilant eye from the moment that Mr. Kearney walked in, you checked out every single person in the courtroom?
Well, at that point, she had sent him to jail, so he would know she was there.
I'm not sure I see the connection, but maybe if I think about it, it becomes clear. Now, did you happen to read an affidavit that Mr. Kearney wrote?
Mr. Cosgrove, this is a bench trial. Pissing off the judge might be, it is a bad idea. And I do believe that Aiden's attorneys, they have been in front of this judge a few times. They know what he likes and doesn't like. Cosgrove doesn't care. Yeah.
Which one?
Judge, I object to impeaching a witness with someone else's statement.
I may have seen this a long time ago. I'm not familiar with all this. If there's something specific you'd like to ask me, I'll take a look.
Did you happen to watch, did you watch all of the Kearney shows? Do you remember whether you watched the Saturday Night Live show on February 24th?
I don't remember off the top of my head, that was so long ago.
Well, can we agree that February 24th of 2004 was 2 days before February 26th that you were invaded the States?
You 2024?
Yes, 2024.
Yes, I agree that it's 2 days.
Thank you. And do you know that Mr. Kearney said that on that live show, he announced that he would be attending the Karen Reed hearing? What's the report of that?
Did you say that? I'm sorry, the jury announced it.
And do you know that he stated that,
Witnesses don't have to agree or disagree, you just, whatever you know or don't know.
and do you know that he stated that on that show, he expressed concerns that the McCabe's and Alberts would show up with Lindsay Kearney as a human shield in order to remove him from the courtroom due to the restraining order she had.
I don't remember anything else.
Well, how is that impeachment if he expresses concern? That means he knows the way the Paul O'Keefe, the McCabes, Alberts, and Lindsay works. That doesn't mean he should not go there because it is his work.
Well, assume for the moment he did. Can you explain why, in light of the fact that he was broadcasting on the live show 2 days before this hearing, that he was worried about the time showing up, he was surprised to see Lindsay walking to the court?
Objection.
Objection is sustained. Next question.
That is your cue, Mr. Cosgrove, to not being an asshole.
So you and Mr. Kearney see Lindsay get down, come in and you get up and you go down the stairs and out the door. Is that correct?
Correct.
And at what point does Mr. Kearney start live casting?
Pretty much as soon as we stepped outside.
Stepped outside the courtroom or stepped outside the building? Okay. And that was always the plan, was it not? Much the point of the visit was that Mr. Kearney was going to do a live cast on scene.
I don't recall the incident. You finished your talk about.
Doesn't he pretty much always do that when it covers the Carney here?
Usually before, but not always after.
Aiden live streaming outside of the courthouse was a stroke of genius. Now, I understand he usually does that, but this time he really needed evidence. Yeah, I was nowhere near the bitch.
Thought that we said this not the live cast session.
Recently, he doesn't even want to be after he doesn't want to. Did in fact take a camera on him to document what happened out there.
He told you, I want to document what happens there.
He's Mr. Tiny followed him. He wanted it on camera. So that was
So I'm going to use an extra sound enhancer here.
So you're outside of the courtroom, he talks to the officer, and the officer directs him. You say the registry of deeds.
yes.
You hear the officer say registry of deeds.
He said go over there and point the registry deeds.
Stop at point like this, or was it a gesture like that?
Street pointing at the building.
Straight ahead. Wasn't pointing at Pond Street.
I don't know what the is.
Mr. Kearney goes over there. Are you still with him at this point?
Yes.
And are you standing next to him or nearby him by the registry of deeds building?
Nearby. Not
And you're familiar with the Norfolk Superior Court, the entrance and the exit, are you not?
I am.
And you've attended a number of the hearings that you've seen. And you know that typically when the hearings get over, people who have attended the hearing, and quite a number of them can't read here, agree that.
Sorry, this is.
Would you agree that quite a number of people typically attend the Carney hearing?
Yes.
And on this particular day, it's so crowded everybody couldn't get in, correct?
I believe so.
So you know when the hearing ends, what typically happens is that people go out that main exit door, same way they went in, correct?
Yes.
Now at some point, you notice that people are coming out the door, right?
Yes.
Are you standing next to the defendant at that point?
For a little bit, we drifted a little bit away as the crowd started coming out.
Well, did you observe whether Mr. Kearney, who was worried that Ms. Katana might follow him, was looking as you were at the door, and was in a position to notice the crowd coming in?
He was on his camera live streaming himself.
So is it your testimony his view was probably obstructed by the phone?
I can't tell you what he was thinking at that point. I was having a conversation.
Well, you've been very good about telling us when I was looking at other things.
Counsel, can you wait for her to answer the question, please? Thank you.
Yeah, the Cosgrove lost the judge. Cosgrove definitely lost the judge. He can't help himself, though, Cosgrove, because he is to his core an asshole.
I can't tell you what he was thinking with his assessment of what was going on. I was having conversations, people were rushing up to me, and he was on his phone, so
So in any case, you noticed that people were coming.
I did.
Did you have any reason to believe that Ms. Katani would not be coming out that door with the rest of the crowd attending here?
I had no idea what the were.
What was the question I was asking?
Did I know this time would have plays in the door?
No. I asked you, did you have any reason to believe that Ms. Cady would not be walking out that door with all the rest of the people who attended the gathering?
Objection, Your Honor, just inviting speculation about someone else's state of mind.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you on the phone system. Well, at that point, did you say to Mr. Kearney, I see people coming out. I see people from the Cameron Reed hearing coming out the door across the street. Did you say that to him?
No, I wasn't directly next to him.
And you only talked to him when you're directly next to him.
I was talking to other people.
So you had no concern at all that Lindsay Kearney would come out and pursue him and get him in trouble. You weren't worried about that at all at that point.
I was trying to figure out what happened because I didn't
I didn't ask you what you're trying to figure out. I asked you if you were worried at all that Lindsay Kearney would come out and pursue.
Asshole, you asked an open-ended question.
So I thought that was your big work. Didn't you tell Mr. Brady that? You and Mr. Kearney were
Judge,
very
I
worried.
just would like her to be able to get an answer in there somewhere.
Yes, we were concerned about that, so we wanted to get a police report for, we didn't expect people to come out then.
And you didn't get the police report, did you?
No, we didn't.
No, I didn't ask you why. So you don't tell Mr. Kearney the people are coming out. You don't call that to his attention. Because you're talking to somebody, for whatever reason, you don't call it to his attention.
We're talking, I think maybe you can see people are coming out.
And you don't say,
Here's the thing, Mr. Cosgrove. They were expecting the hearing to be hours. And you know, Mr. Cosgrove, that there are more than one courtroom in that courthouse. Why would she expect people getting out of a hearing that should last another 2 hours and not people from other courtrooms? You piece of shit.
Aiden, Lindsay might be coming out that door. Why don't we go back to my car and get the hell out of here so she doesn't track you?
I haven't seen her at that point.
So was it your plan to wait until she was on top of you before you left?
No, we didn't have plans, we didn't expect the hearing to end in 5 minutes.
Well, it ended, right? People were coming out the door regardless of your expectations. You could see that, could you not? And in fact, before people even started coming out, if you're so worried about Lindsay Kearney, why didn't you say, let's go back to my car and get the hell out of here so there isn't a problem?
We wanted to memorialize the police report so that she can find a court case violation.
And where was the police station in the town of Dedham?
I don't know.
Do you know when Mr. Kearney filed the police report? Relative to that day, a couple of days after. So you couldn't leave because you wanted to file a police report, but then a couple of days passed before Mr. Kearney gets around. Is that what you're telling us?
I don't remember. At that point, she had already charged with this, so I don't know that it would have been.
But you think it would have been proof to get reported before she did?
She did like that night, so
So you would say she was very quick about reporting this alleged violation?
not when it happens, not until later.
If it ever wanted to. So, Mr. Kearney did not stay up against the wall of the Registry of Deeds.
No, he actually went out to the airport recently because I texted him, do not come back here to the parking lot.
Well, when he starts moving, he moves in the direction of this courthouse, correct?
No, he moved in the direction back towards Superior, down Court Street.
Really? Could I have 15, please?
Oh yeah, the screenshot of a video where they claim Aiden is behind a tree. Yeah, that'll do it.
Remember what Mr. Kearney was dressed as that night?
He moved in a greater community.
The blue tie? Dark blue tie?
Yes.
You see him in that photo towards the back? So at that point, he's not in the front of he's not on the steps of the registry of deeds.
I don't look at the steps, I can't tell where exactly he is from the photo.
All right. Well, would you say, looking at the registry of deeds building, would you say he's moved to the right or he's moved to the left?
Judge, I object. This is all speculation because we don't know where Mr. Tani is. We don't know when this is.
Objection sustained. I don't need to hear the whole thing. You can't tell, can you tell from that photo what direction he went? Yes or no?
No.
Next question.
All right. I'll take a look at
Oh, Cosgrove, you lost the judge big time. Oh, you stupid motherfucker.
16, please. Well, wherever he is, it's fair to say he's not in the front of the registry of deeds at this point, is he?
I can't tell where he is. It didn't look like that though.
All right. Let me move on to another line of question.
There were about 300 people half had cameras. You can't just say, oh, there's a figure with a camera or with a phone up. Stupid punk.
You had your cell phone then. It's pretty obvious that you had this cell phone. Did you ever call him and suggest it would be a good idea to call?
I usually don't service here.
I'm sorry?
I didn't call him, but I use a very fast service in the right here.
Whenever you're in the courthouse or whenever you're outside?
Down in general, my carrier gets terrible service.
Who's your carrier?
It's Cady. Yeah. Thank you.
And when you were there were a lot of people in the crowd shouting these things, right?
Sure. Yes.
And you were, at times, you were some distance from Mr. Kearney.
Yes, I eventually went back to the parking lot with my friends.
Right. So you really have no idea whether he happened to shout liar, liar at somebody at some time.
Well, by the time I got to her, Mr. Tommy was there, so I could have charged her.
All right. And when you were apart from Mr. Kearney, were you down in the parking lot the whole time, or?
For most of the time, then walked back, yes.
So you weren't necessarily next to him at all times before you got to the parking lot?
For the parking lot, I was with him for most of the time.
I'm sorry?
Before I went to the parking lot, which was when we got separated, I was with him most of the time, very close to him.
You were with him most of the time very close to him. All right, so the answer to my question, which was you were with him at all times, is yes.
Yes.
Do you have your cell phone with you today?
Not in here, as outside, yes.
You still have the text message, do not come back here?
If it was scrolled back hard, I didn't delete it, if it wasn't deleted, it should be in there.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Just a brief question, Your Honor. So you were asking Ms. O'Neill about why did you go find the police station and report it afterwards? Something to that effect, right?
Right.
Were you in the car with Mr. Carney for a little while after kind of this whole thing has subsided?
I was.
Was he in any sort of state of mind to be able to report anything to the police?
No, he was on the brink of tears, so he had to go get his kids.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
He
you.
was on the brink of tears, he was shaking, and he had to go get his kids. He was trying to calm him down enough to be able to go, at least pick up his kids.
All right. And is that why you didn't pursue any police documentation at that point?
No, I believe he called you and you were gonna handle it, so there really was no need to go at that point.
Thank you, nothing further.
Yes. He was on the brink of tears and he was drinking under no conditions. Did you notice him crying during the live broadcast? The live cast he was doing across the street, the registry of deeds. So he only collapsed into this emotional state after he got back. He held it together bravely.
Well, yeah, Mr. Cosgrove, because in the situation, he's live streaming and everything, he is preoccupied. Then afterwards, the realization of the situation hits him. Yeah. Have you never heard of that, Mr. Cosgrove? Didn't they teach that at law school when you graduated in 1875?
During the broadcast of the States.
Yes, it was all the time.
No further questions.
Nothing further. Thank
You
you.
may step down. Thank you.
She did good.
Judge, I have a very quick witness who's got to pick up her kids, and I was hoping to maybe just get her on for 5 minutes or so. Sure, appreciate it. Thank you, Your Honor. Lauren Cologne. Lauren Cologne.
I didn't catch the
Lauren
last name.
Cologne. Yep, thank you.
Cologne?
Good morning. Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
May I inquire? Ms. Cologne, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
State your name and spell your last name, please.
Lauren Cologne, C-O-L-O.
And where do you live, just generally?
In the Norfolk County.
What do you do for a living?
I am a project manager at a large company. I work out of their headquarters in Boston.
And are you married?
I am.
Family?
Yes. Two.
What's your educational background?
I have my undergraduate and an MBA degree both from Northeastern University.
You've taken an interest in the Karen Reed and Aiden Carney cases here in Norfolk County?
Yes.
And from time to time you attend these hearings?
I've attended one hearing.
Was that 226-24?
That was.
And you were there inside the courthouse or outside the courthouse when that Karen Reed hearing was going on?
I was outside the courthouse.
Shortly after 2 o'clock, were you outside the courthouse?
Yes,
Do you know who Aiden Carney is?
I do.
And it's the gentleman here with me, right?
Yes,
And did you see him emerge from the courthouse a little bit after 2 o'clock?
I did.
And what exactly were your observations? First of all, where were you situated when you first saw him?
Yes, I was on the stairs. A little, it was the first stair or two leading up to the courthouse doors.
Okay, so the base of the stairs at the Norfolk Superior Court main entrance.
Yes.
You see Mr. Carney. What do you see?
Mr. Carney came out. He looked visibly anxious, very, very anxious. He had really a great concern that was
Objection.
Was he using his phone at all?
not at first, but then I did observe him make a comment that I should.
Objection to the comment.
You answered that question. What's your next question?
What did you see him do, just visibly, with respect to his phone?
Take it out and began recording.
Do you know if he was recording out to the world or recording himself? If you know.
I believe he was recording himself.
Where was he when he started to do that?
I want to say maybe it was like around the base of the stairs. Maybe leading out into the sidewalk.
I'm sorry. Okay. When he came out, did he draw your attention, or were you looking at other things besides Mr. Carney?
No, I was looking at it.
And what did you see him do, and where did you see him go?
Well, I saw him. There was a state trooper that was there. on
Objection. The
well.
question is, what did the same do?
What did you see
Listen
him
to
do?
the question and just answer that question, please.
He began moving down the stairs and started to cross the street. He approached a Dedman police officer.
Okay, you were going to talk about a state trooper. Did a state trooper approach him as well?
Yes,
What
the state trooper was concerned about.
Objection.
Just what did you see happen?
So I saw the state trooper usher folks off of the stairs and to continue moving across the street.
And was Mr. Carney part of that group of people that were being ushered around?
Yes.
Where did he go?
He then was walking into the street. He approached a Dedman police officer.
Was that Dedman police officer busy doing things, or was he just completely focused on Mr. Carney?
No, there was a lot of people around.
Next question.
Did you see Mr. Carney speak to him?
I did.
What was said?
Objection.
Notice it. No, state of mind.
Grounds for your objection?
Seriously. And it's also already in evidence. Your Honor viewed the recording of the conversation.
Overruled.
What did he say? The officer.
I did not hear what was said.
Next question.
What did you see as far as any physical gestures by either Mr. Carney or the officer?
I saw the officer lift his hand and point towards the registry of deeds. I then
Next
saw
question. And then what did you see Mr. Carney do in terms of gestures?
I saw him do the same.
And where did you see Mr. Carney proceed after that?
He then walked over to the registry of deeds.
Was he still doing his thing with his phone?
Yes.
At some point, hundreds of people stream out of the Norfolk Superior Court, right?
Yes.
Was it close in time after this interaction?
It was.
What did you observe about people streaming out of the court?
Just generally. I really didn't observe.
Okay, was there a large number of people or a small number of people?
There was a large number.
Now, were they going towards the handicap ramp, down the main stairs, or where were they going to?
There were folks using both the handicap railing and the stairs.
Were you near Mr. Carney when those folks started to stream out of the courthouse?
No.
Did you see Mr. Carney doing anything else outside the courthouse when these folks were coming out of the courthouse?
I did not.
I just have one more, please. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. The proper sidebar. It is sidebar counter 3.
Please call you follow Mr. Kearney's podcast.
I see his YouTube.
Just once?
No.
When was the most recent time you saw them?
Last night, you met one of the jurors from the first hearing we tried.
And have you watched others as well?
Yes.
Do you have a paid subscription to any of these channels? Some of them are free, some of them are paid. Is it the same?
No.
And can I ask you if you executed this affidavit and watched this? Yes.
Hi, Daniel.
And, how did you come to write this affidavit? Or how did you come to execute this affidavit?
I cannot recall if somebody sent me a tweet or if I saw it myself, but it was basically a request from Mr. Carney. If you were there, let me know if you'd be willing to give your observations.
So he put out the request and you responded to it?
Yes, I felt.
Tell me what you felt. That's the question. So, after you responded,
Yeah, why didn't you do that? Or why didn't Lindsay do that? Why didn't they? If you have observations, please take contact. The Cosgrove definitely didn't do it. The investigators definitely didn't do it. Why was that? Well, it's because they don't want witnesses. They want henchmen.
what happens in terms of you putting the affidavit?
I sent it over to the paralegal who works for.
Did you draft the whole affidavit yourself, or did the paralegal reword it?
I drafted it mostly myself. She cut out a few parts of it that I had originally drafted.
All right. And then you read it over and signed it?
Yes.
So some of this language, like I am of age and the resident of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, that's not your language, right?
Objection, Your Honor. Legally, she signed it and adopted it. It is her language.
If you understand the question, were you the one that wrote that, or was that suggested writing that you signed?
I wrote the affidavit.
Thank you. No further questions.
Nothing further. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. What's in recess until 2 o'clock?
What? All rise. Please exit to the front door. Thank you. Stop on the line outside again at 1:45. Thank you, guys.
Jesus Christ. All right, back from break. Whoever edited this for Aiden, good work, good job.
I would make the same question. Sure. Could we maybe ask across or just notify?
How many witnesses that have testified in that?
Any witnesses testify maybe on
Jill Dadman.
All right, who is the next witness?
Do you swear that now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
State your name and spell your last name.
Sure. It's Jill Dadman. Last name is Dadmun. Mansfield, Mass. Office manager at a small law firm.
How long have you been in that line?
A long time. About, what am I, more than 20 years. Let's just say that. I do.
Just in general.
Husband and one teenage son who's in college.
Now, you have taken an interest in the Kearney and maybe Carney cases here in Norfolk County, right?
I have.
Just tell the judge a little bit about that interest and when that started, and what do you do in relation to cases?
Well, it's been my life, I think. Sadly, for 2 years, since it's kind of come together. I followed Aiden when he broke the story. Just from the get-go, I started following it, and here we are, two and a half years later.
Sure. Do you attend some of the court hearings?
When I can, yes. Yep.
Are you familiar? So you mentioned Aiden, so we're talking about Mr. Carney, general manager.
Yep.
And you know that he's a journalist who writes about the case you mentioned and broke the story. And what are you referring to in terms of that?
Because I didn't know about the story. Like everybody had said, they turned on the news at 4, 5, and 7. They talked about it, but then it went away just as quickly as it came. And my sister had told me about Aiden and his. Okay.
Were you here on February 26th, 2024?
I was.
And there was a Kearney hearing across the street in the Superior Court?
Yes.
And what was your understanding of what that hearing was going to be, just in general?
The actual hearing, I don't know the specifics of what it was that day.
Did you attend?
I tried to get into the actual courtroom. I was called in and I went upstairs to the second floor and I was with me and someone else, hoping that 2 people would come out and would be able to go in.
Did you ever get into that hearing?
No.
Did you see Mr. Carney in terms of that hearing on the second floor anywhere?
Did I see him? No, not from where I was
Do you know
sitting.
who Lindsay Catani and Jennifer McCabe were?
I do.
And would you recognize them if you saw them?
Yes,
Did you see them that afternoon?
I did.
Did you see them on the second floor?
I saw them on the second floor. Yep.
What did Jennifer McCabe do and say when you saw her?
Jennifer Mc,
Go ahead.
okay. Jennifer McCabe was standing to the left of Lindsay Catani. Lindsay was in the middle. Jennifer McCabe had put her hand behind Lindsay Catani's back and said, "Tell them that you're part of the O'Keefe family, John O'Keefe's family."
And what if anything, did Lindsay Catani do right after that?
She was standing, like I said, to the right of Jennifer McCabe, and there was a bunch of other family members behind there. And she said that she was holding a piece of paper, clearly white piece of paper. I have no idea what it said, but it was a white piece of paper. And she had said, "I'm part of John O'Keefe's family."
And did that get them into the courtroom?
I would assume so. Yeah.
So I want you to assume.
Yeah,
Did you see it or did you not?
I didn't actually see them physically go into the courtroom. I did not see that.
Judge, I have a photograph man approach. I'll show you this photograph man. Ask if you recognize it.
Let me get my old lady glasses.
Take all the time you need.
Yes. Yep. Definitely.
What do you recognize that photograph to be?
That's exactly how I remember Jennifer. Yeah, Jen McCabe right there, and that's Lindsay right there.
So it's a
Yep.
photograph of Jennifer McCabe and Lindsay Catani?
Yep.
And where are they?
Standing right outside the courtroom. Is that what you mean?
Is that a picture of the scenario that you just?
Oh,
spoke
absolutely.
about?
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of that and that area and those folks?
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering if that's me.
Do you
but
think
yes.
do you think you may be in the photo?
I honestly don't know, but I was that close, so I could have been. I don't.
Thank you. I'm not sure.
Exhibit 44.
So for the record, that's a photograph of Jennifer McCabe to the left of Lindsay Catani and Lindsay Catani with the white purse, right?
Yeah.
After you heard this exchange, do you happen to know whether Lindsay Catani is part of the O'Keefe family?
Oh, I knew she wasn't.
And did you, at some point, leave the courthouse?
My first thought was, at some point, did I leave the courthouse?
Back up a little bit.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You left the courthouse.
I did. Yep.
All right. In the course of leaving.
Yep.
Where did you go? Who did you see?
I went down the stairs, and I saw Aiden in the hallway.
And did you want to give him some information?
Oh, yeah, I
Did
did.
you give him some information?
I did.
Did you give him some information about what you had just seen?
I did.
And was there any recording of that memorializing?
Yes, Aiden asked me if I could record, and I said absolutely.
And what happened after that?
After he recorded me,
You mentioned some information, and he asked you to record. Did you record it? Did your observation?
yes, he did.
Where did you go after that?
I didn't want to feel like a total not like following him, but I just walked outside.
Where did you go?
Just walked outside.
All right. And
yeah.
Did you stick around or did you leave?
I went down the courthouse stairs, and I remember seeing Aiden walk and stop and talk to the officer. Oh.
Just listen to the conversation. You don't have to provide a whole, for lack of, it's tough to deal with this.
Okay.
You have no responsibility to give a landscape.
Oh, all right.
You just listen to the specific question that's asked, you answer it, and then you just wait for the next.
Okay.
We appreciate you turning up.
Sorry.
So you go outside.
Yep.
And did you see where Mr. Carney went or what he did?
I did.
What did you see?
I saw him walk up to an officer.
Were you able to get a conversation or were you able to just be too far away?
I didn't hear what they said.
Did you see physical gestures by either of the two of them?
I did.
What gestures did you see?
I saw the officer point over to
Where
the,
did you,
I'm assuming the,
you don't need to worry, but just
Yeah.
describe where you went.
just like to the left or something, I guess. I mean, just
You pointed
over.
somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what did Mr. Carney do? Did he make any gestures?
All I can recall is just he walked across the street.
Where did he go?
I don't,
Did you depart the area after that? Or did you stay around?
I probably stuck around, but I really can't say
Sounds
if
like
I did.
memory's probably exhausted about now.
Pretty much.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
You're welcome.
Ms. Dadman, you should refer to Mr. Kearney as Aiden. Are you on a first name basis with him?
Well, if I know somebody, I'm going to call them by their first name
And what's the basis of your knowing him?
from his journalism, I guess.
I'm sorry?
His journalism, his reporting.
So you never met him or talked with him or associated with him before, you've just seen him on the shows? Is that
Yes.
Is that your answer? And then do you subscribe to any of his channels?
I do.
What does it cost you to subscribe to his channel?
$15 a month.
$15 a month. And have you donated any money to, say, Carney Defense Fund?
I have.
How much have you donated to Carney Defense Fund?
Probably not much, but if I was to guess, $100.
And have you done that through appeals on Mr. Kearney's broadcast?
No.
Separate broadcast?
No, just
What was the mechanism of your sending the money to the Karen Reed Defense Fund?
because I think she's innocent.
No, I didn't ask you why. I said, how did you go about it?
On her free Karen Reed, I don't know. It's her fundraiser page.
Oh, she's her own fundraiser page, and you use that to make your donations. Is that your answer?
Yes.
How about the defense fund for Mr. Kearney? We donated to that.
His defense fund?
Well, the relevance here is bias. He's trying to argue these people are biased for Mr. Kearney, and that's why we shouldn't trust them at their word. At the same time, he's picking in people who has an active interest in convicting everybody who believes in science, believes in physics, medical science. Yeah.
I may have. Probably. I may have. I don't know.
You don't recall?
I don't recall. No.
You donate to a lot of defense funds. You have difficulty remembering these things.
Yeah, I'm up there in age. I don't remember. You asked me and I don't remember.
I sympathize with you.
Yeah.
Turn all devices to turn off, please.
Now, as I understand it, you went to this hearing that we were talking about on February 26th, hoping to get into personally observed. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And you didn't get it.
I did not.
Now, were you upset that Lindsay had time
Can't say yes. I mean, in the means that how she said she should get in, yes. Because I knew she was not part of his family.
Right. Perhaps if she didn't get in, you would have got that seat.
No, it had nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do.
Because they were given another seat. So
How do you know Lindsay Gattani? As I understand it, she hasn't been on the witness list.
I know her through some friends.
Some friends.
Yep, friend of a friend. Yeah.
Friend of a friend.
Mhm.
And knowing her through the friend of the friend, you were able to recognize her and know who she was when she was talking to you.
Yep.
The friend of the friend must have given you a pretty good description.
No, I've actually met her through a friend. So,
You met her.
well, not directly, but I know of her. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how.
Well, I just told you through a friend.
Well,
Her ex-husband, the father of her children, the father of her children. Okay.
Well, technically, he's just the father of 3 of the kids, even though 4 of them has his last name, because Lindsay is a fucking whore.
have you seen a photograph of her?
Before that day? Yes,
When was that?
I don't.
So, after you give that conversation, and by the way, did you quote it word for word, or is that sure if somebody knows?
I mean, it was only a few words said by both of them, so I'm part of John O'Keefe's family. That's basically what was said.
Part of John O'Keefe's.
Mhm.
You're sure she didn't say I'm with John O'Keefe's family?
Nope. She said I'm part of John O'Keefe's family.
You're very sure?
I'm very certain. Yep.
And from memory, you received kind of status.
Yep.
And you encountered Mr. Kearney.
Mhm.
Were you looking for Mr. Kearney, or was this a accidental encounter?
Probably a little combination because I know he had left. So
And why were you looking?
I was looking for him to tell him what I heard
Why would you care? Why would you think it?
because they weren't supposed to be near each other.
I'm having trouble. Can you make the connection for me? What Mr. Kearney's guidance statements? What Mr. Tani said to, what was it, court officer? He had this-
I'm assuming so. Yeah.
What has that got to do with?
Because I saw it because Aiden left. Aiden left the courtroom.
Okay. So it was important for him to know this when he's downstairs. Well,
Because she was lying.
why does he need to do that?
'Cause
That's
I
your opinion, by the way, right? That she was lying.
Well, I know she's not related to John
Fine. Why does he need to do that?
because I knew that she had a restraining order or whatever the restraining orders work. I don't know
And how did you know that?
because it was known. I don't know how I know
Well, it was known how.
because I don't know. Certainly wasn't. No, just from probably following his journalism, I guess.
So you knew that from Mr. Kearney,
I and also through the friend that I told you about.
the mysterious friend of the.
It's not. I can name him.
That's it.
Okay.
He doesn't want you to name him.
I take it you have Mr. Kearney was interested in this information.
A little bit.
By the way, when you find him, he hadn't left the building. Man.
I met. It was like in the vestibule, like right before you leave the actual courthouse, not the courtroom.
Not the courtroom, but down near the entrance.
Yep.
You come in and out.
Yep.
He hadn't actually left the building, but he was near the entrance where the exit.
Yep. From what I recall. Yep. Yep.
Right where they have the middle.
Yes.
So you had a conversation, and he immediately asked, "Can I record this?"
No. Well, I told him what I saw, heard. Yep. And he said, "Would you mind if I recorded you?" And I said, "Absolutely not."
What when he asked you, do you mind if I record this? What are you thinking about this request? Did it puzzle you?
No, I mean, I was fine to get it on recording.
Do you have a sense of what he was going to do with it after you recorded it?
Nope, didn't really care.
Not at all. It didn't occur to you he was going to broadcast it.
If he did, he did. I didn't
You
care.
don't know whether he broadcasted it?
I don't believe he did.
To this day, you don't.
No, I don't.
You're trying to help Mr. Kearney
Trying to help him? Is that what he said? In what way? What do you mean?
by providing him with this information.
Well, I thought that she was lying.
Listen to the question.
I did answer you.
You gave your own little speech. Listen to the question.
Okay.
Were you trying to help Mr. Kearney?
If I thought it was going to help him, yes. You're welcome.
Now, when you saw this police officer, I think you told Mr. Bradle that the police officer pointed to the left.
Well, if he was
Well, which way was he facing?
facing
Towards
that
the-
way, like
towards the Superior Court or away from the Superior Court?
away from the Superior Court.
Okay, so he's facing
In the middle of traffic.
Does he point?
Went like
Second
that.
point to the left.
No, I was saying if he was over here and he was this way, he went like that.
So he pointed to the right.
Yes.
All right.
His left or your left?
And anywhere in particular to the right?
I don't know.
You didn't hear him say anything. Well, I think you told us that you were out of earshot.
I was, yes, on that conversation, yes. I know he was concerned about being
No, you don't
fired.
know what he was concerned.
Maybe I don't. You just asked me.
No, I didn't ask you what he
Okay,
was
all right,
concerned.
okay.
Now, did you earlier, in connection with this case, provide Mr. Kearney or his attorney with an affidavit?
I did.
Let me show you this and tell me if this is either your affidavit or a photocopy of it.
I don't know what that says. Yep, this is mine.
That's your affidavit.
It is.
And that's your signature at the bottom.
Yep, it's cut off. But
Yes, it is cut off a little at the side. You sign this under the penalties of perjury.
I did.
How did it come about that you offered an affidavit in this case?
God, you're going back a year and a half. So,
Well, you're just going back a couple of years to tell me about what happened.
yeah, because that's a story to talk about the affidavit. So you said when did I sign the affidavit? Is that what your question was?
No, my question was, how is it that you went about providing an affidavit?
I think, probably because he was going to trial.
Well, did somebody ask you to provide an affidavit? Did you volunteer?
I think Courtney maybe reached out to me. Courtney or Tim Bradle?
Don't ask her.
Oh wait, I don't. All right, I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't.
No, sorry.
So you don't remember how it happened, but we can agree that it happened.
That I.
Provided an affidavit.
Oh yeah.
Now, did you write this yourself, or did somebody write it for you?
Well, did I actually type that out? Is that your question?
No, I'm not talking about the physical process. I'm asking, are these your words?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I just said too. So.
Did anybody write any of it for you?
No.
So they're not your words?
No.
All right. So, number one of this affidavit, can we agree it says, I am of age and a resident of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
Yes.
Are those your words?
Well, I'm a resident of Massachusetts, so I assume so.
You assume, do you know?
Well, yeah, I live here all my life.
She signs it, she adopts an affidavit, it's her words, I mean, the person asking her, it's her words, it's implicitly her words.
I appreciate Mr. Bruce's testimony.
Objection overruled. Wasn't the question just trying to make sure that?
I am from Massachusetts. I have been my whole life.
Oh, we'll stipulate she's from Massachusetts. All right, now I think you told us on direct examination that you saw the opposite gesture, and then you saw Mr. Kearney move on, but you didn't see where he went.
I did not.
Would you read number 6 of your affidavit, please?
I saw Mr. Kearney stop and speak to the police officer who was, this is cut off, so, who was, I don't know, make his way across the street to the Registry of Deeds.
Now, you just told us you didn't see where Mr. Kearney went, but you signed an affidavit saying that he made his way across the street to the Registry of Deeds. Is that fair?
It's fair, yeah?
Now, my question for you is, did somebody suggest to you the words Registry of Deeds?
No, I had spent, no.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No, no.
Okay.
All right, now to the headline. Paul O'Keefe.
Mr.
The drunk driver who
Do you swear in the matter now in
actually
hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
almost
but the
killed
truth, so help you God?
somebody.
I do.
Right. Good afternoon, sir. State your name, spell your last name, please.
Paul O'Keefe, Okeefe,
Where do you start?
West Bridgewater, Massachusetts.
What do you do for a living?
I'm in sales,
And where do you work?
Simmons Industries.
How long have you been sober?
How long? Well, I thought he asked, how long have you been sober? Well, that would be he never is, probably, allegedly.
Next month will be 13 years.
And, do you have a family in the area, just generally?
I do.
And who's your family?
Mother, father, niece, nephew, wife, children.
And you have a family connection.
How many girlfriends and hookups and stuff did you? No, none of them. No, none of them. Because not that you have been spotted trying to pick up a lot of women through your sympathy act. Folks, I'm going to say this outright. I don't think he grieves his brother. Because he's too much of a selfish asshole. He sees this as an opportunity to collect money. That's it. In my opinion.
Kearney, across the street, correct?
I do.
And your brother passed away, and he's the case involves his death across the street.
Correct.
You attend the court hearings over there,
I do.
and you know the gentleman with you today, Aidan, correct?
Unfortunately, I do.
And he's someone who you don't like.
No.
Right?
No.
No, I'm not correct, or yes, I am?
No, you are correct.
And you've had a text message or Facebook message exchange with Mr. Carney, correct?
Once or twice.
And just to summarize it, and you can look at it if you want, just in the interest of moving along. You sent him a Facebook message saying, I'm taking you down. I hope you know that you're done. You're going to jail again, actually prison this time. I hope your kids are prepared, so I look forward to that. Is that right?
That's a very small part of the conversation, yes. But yes.
I'm just trying to get to the nugget of it. If you want to look at it, I'm happy.
Let's see here. Paul O'Keefe saying, I'm taking you down and hope you know that you're done. You're going to jail again, actually prison this time. I hope your kids are prepared, so look forward. Drinking again? Adderall, Aiden. You spelled it wrong, both words. I don't do, and Paul says, I don't do drugs. No, you're just a drunk. 24/7, 365 drunk.
Sure. But that's the nugget of your sentiment towards Mr. Carney, right?
Yes, I mean, that was sent out of frustration from all the harassment that the defendant has given to me, my family, friends. There's a slew of reasons over the last couple of 2 years.
Accurate.
Well, you are an asshole, Paul. But regarding the family, up until that point, it was more, why are you friends with your brother's son's, your brother's killer? More probable killers. Why are you friends with them? That's not harassment. That is just asking questions. And seriously, you almost killed a guy drunk driving, and Karen bailed you out. Even though it was a low bail, you still didn't have the money for it. Not even your wife bailed you out. Why is that, Paul? Is it because she knows you're a drunk asshole? And then you decided, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with the McAlberts. Because Karen has money. There's a bigger chance of me getting a payday if I go after Karen.
Summary of your emotions and your feelings towards Mr. Carney, right?
I would say at that moment, it was words out of frustration.
And in terms of your case across.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Look at the date. 1 a.m. July 27th. That is before. They didn't actually press the charges until the next day. That is him colluding with Lindsay and Jen McCabe.
In terms of your case across the street that involves your brother, it must be difficult or annoying or frustrating or produces anger in you that Mr. Carney is a frequent visitor, a frequent.
Oh, I see in the chat about wasn't that Chris Albert? No, Chris Albert actually killed a guy. O'Keefe only got a guy paralyzed. Drunk driving.
Commentator and a frequent critic, right?
Among other things, yes.
And so it would be nice to get him out of there, right?
I mean, I don't care for him to be there, no.
Sure. And so how did you come to be acquainted with Lindsay Gattani?
How did I? I mean, we were both experiencing the same harassment from the defendant as well as his followers.
So you feel like there's an affinity with you and Ms. Gattani in terms of being criticized or exposed by Mr. Carney?
Harassed, I would say.
So back to my question.
Mr. O'Keefe, that's not impressive. Not impressive enough to try to make a muscle pose.
When did you meet Ms. Gattani?
When did I meet her? It would have been the day that the defendant was removed from court across the street, back in February 2024.
If I suggest 226, that hearing, that was on 226-24.
That sounds about accurate.
And you'll recall, that was the hearing where there was a number of things on the agenda, but court kind of got done pretty quickly that day, right?
I believe it was an afternoon session. I don't really recall what was said. I've been to many, many court dates over the last couple of years, so I don't know what was said specifically at that date.
In terms of you meeting or speaking with Ms. Gattani, when was the first time you spoke with her?
That day I introduced myself.
What was that?
I said, nice to meet you.
Spoke, wrongly worded question. Have contact with.
I think I applauded her strength, and that was it.
Was she there? Was she invited there by you?
By me personally, no.
To your knowledge, who was she invited there?
Someone had asked me if it was okay if she went to court that day, and I just said sure. I don't remember who exactly asked me that question.
Was it Kate Peter?
I don't
Bullshit.
recall if it was
Do you
her.
know Kate Peter?
I know who she is. I don't know if I would say I really know her.
Have you ever spoken with her?
I've spoken to her once, once in a phone conversation, and then I believe once for the defendant's arraignment at one time when I met her in person.
What was the time frame of you speaking with her? When was that?
When did I?
So, for the sake of argument, let's say he's truthful. That means it wasn't Kate who orchestrated it. It was, by all means, Jen McCabe.
Talk to her?
Yeah.
I really don't know, to be honest. It's
Was it prior to 226?
possibly.
Kate Peter facilitated this entire visit of Lindsay Gattani to court at 226.
I have no idea. I was asked by someone if it was okay with me if she came. I said okay. It's a public courthouse. At that time, the going to court, we were greeted by, we had to go through a gauntlet of people yelling and screaming at us, which was organized by the defendant and incited by the defendant. It deterred a lot.
Try to just focus on my question. This is a question and answer process. So, when did you speak with Ms. Gattani that day? Where were you?
We were in the back parking lot of the Registry of Deeds, where everyone meets and we walk over together.
How did you come to meet her in the back parking lot of the Registry of Deeds? What was the plan? What was the organizational situation about meeting up there?
I mean, anyone who would go to court knew that we parked back there, and that's where we met and walked over as a group.
So is it your testimony that was some sort of just a spontaneous thing that you guys ran into each other back there, or was there some sort of a plan?
I pulled into the parking lot. There was a group of people. I got out to greet the people. She was one of the people that was in that group.
Did you know that she was going to be there?
I'm assuming she would be because I was asked if it was okay with me. So I was under the assumption that there was a likelihood she would be there.
So you were asked by someone who you're not sure it was if Lindsay Gattani could be in court, and then she materializes at court.
Correct.
Where did you park
Bullshit.
in the Registry of Deeds parking lot? Close to the building, far away from the building, whereabouts?
At the far end, away from the building.
Away from the building. Now, would it be correct to say that you did not invite Lindsay Gattani that day?
Personally, I did not know.
Did you or your family, to your knowledge, express any invitation to her that involved your family wanting to support her, recognize her, and be with her at your brother's case?
The only thing that was asked of me if it was okay if she went. That was it.
Was there anything about supporting her or helping her or anything?
Nope.
It's fair to say you were more focused about your brother's case, not Lindsay Gattani's case?
Correct.
But once you got there and she kept holding the paper with the restraining order, no red flags? None whatsoever?
Did you walk in with Mrs. Gattani?
I believe the group that met in the parking lot all walked in together. Yes.
Did you know that she had a restraining order against Mr. Carney at the time?
I believe I did, yes.
Were you trying to use Ms. Katani to evict Mr. Carney from the courthouse?
Was I personally? No.
Was your family doing that?
No.
Who was doing it?
I'm sorry?
Sustain, you don't have.
Yes, I thought so. All right, thank you.
So just coincidentally, on the first time you met Ms. Katani, she had a restraining order against Mr. Carney, right?
That's correct.
And she had it in her hand when she went into the courthouse, didn't she?
I didn't see her with it. I think she was behind me.
Did you see her with a piece of paper in her hand when she walked in?
I did not.
Did you see when she walked into the courthouse?
Again, I think she was behind me. I didn't see her walk in, so
Did you see her when she walked into the courtroom?
no, because she sat behind me as well.
Did you see her when she came in and sat behind you?
No.
Did you speak to her at all in the courtroom?
No.
Did you have an awareness that Mr. Carney was in the courtroom on the other side of the aisle?
Yes.
Did you speak with him or see him or have any interactions with him?
Not at that point. Later in the day.
Did anyone ask you to invite Ms. Katani to any hearings before Mr. Carney got out of jail, such as January 5th or January 18th?
That was the only time.
Just when Mr. Carney was out of jail and when Ms. Katani had a restraining order, right?
Correct.
Did you speak with Jennifer McCabe that day at all?
I don't believe so.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, this goes into just to be in contrary to what Lindsay claimed, that she was not invited by the O'Keefes. Somebody told her the O'Keefes wanted her there, according to herself, which is either Jen McCabe or Kate Peters being lying cunts. Because you can't have it both ways. What probably happened was Jen or Kate came to the agreement, either separately or together, that if we get Lindsay there, we get Aiden out. So we will tell the O'Keefes, is it okay? And then we will tell Lindsay, you are invited by the O'Keefes. That's a conspiracy.
Mr. O'Keefe, if I could catch your answer correctly to Mr. Bradel's question about whether you had any interaction with Mr. Kearney, it was in the nature of not then, but later on that day.
Correct.
Can you describe that for us, please?
Leaving court, I was ambushed by the defendant and harassed with his camera in my face, telling me several times that I'm a disgrace to my brother.
Now,
Which you are.
did you leave, do you know if you left the court at the same time as Ms. Katani, or did you leave before or after her?
Most after?
About how long after you leave?
I really have no idea.
I'm going to direct your attention to the screen up there. And this is typically where I want to run the number, but I think what we want is February 27, 2020.
So, Mr. Cosgrove, he left roughly at the same time as the rest of them. How did Aiden follow Lindsay if he was also harassing John O'Keefe? How do you get those two together, Mr. Cosgrove? You claim Aiden followed Lindsay. At the same time, he is confronting Paul O'Keefe. Now, Aiden is a lot of things for a lot of people for different reasons, but he can't be at two places at the same time.
Can you play that, please?
You want to be disgraced in your brother. You disgrace. You want to be disgraced. That's what I'm want. Shut up for the first time. But you guys, shut up for you guys. Disgusting. Disgusting, Paul. Disgusting. Disgusting.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of your interaction with Mr. Kearney?
So, Mr. Cosgrove, how did he do that at the same time he was following Lindsay Gaetani? Explain.
Yes, it is.
Did you later see it play on one of Mr. Kearney's YouTube presentations?
Yes.
Did you observe at any time during your interaction with Mr. Kearney on that occasion that he appeared to be distraught?
He was very upset.
And what was the sense of him being upset? Did you get that?
What was the sense? I think it's because he was removed from the courtroom. And he must have thought I had something to do with it, which is probably why I'm here today.
And did you observe him to be trembling, shaken?
Oh, you think he, okay. Now this is legal strategy, folks. It goes both ways. If Paul O'Keefe goes there and says, yes, I contacted Lindsay and invited her, Lindsay is fucked. Now he's there, and thanks to the testimony earlier, he is saying, no, somebody told me, is it okay to bring her? Which contradicts what Lindsay tries to assert. So it's a no-win situation, regardless of what he said, Paul O'Keefe. It would be either a contradiction to the state's narrative, or he would prove a conspiracy. Good job, Aiden's attorney.
He was mostly angry.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
So that's a tape recording, Mr. O'Keefe, of your interaction with Mr. Carney after court that day?
Yes.
And you said to him, don't get too comfortable?
Yes.
And your mom said, where's Lindsay?
I believe she said that.
So, in other words, you guys knew
Oh, where's Lindsay? Oh.
exactly what was going on that day, and you were taunting Mr. Carney about the presence of Lindsay at the time.
I wouldn't say taunting. None of that would have been said if the defendant didn't get in my face and ambush me the way he did.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ron.
All right. Now one more witness. One more witness.
John Carney?
So yeah, Paul O'Keefe went up there like a fool and proved the defense correct.
Yes, I do.
Either way.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
State name, spell your last name for the record.
John Carney, Carney.
Where do you live, sir?
Canton,
How long have you lived in Canton?
2 years.
What do you do for a living?
I'm retired.
Just tell us about your family, John.
I have 2 sisters, a brother. My mother lives in Norwood.
What did you do for a living before you retired?
I retired from the military when I came home from Iraq in 2006.
What did you do in Iraq?
I drove tractor trailers, hauling fuel.
Have you
Thank
taken
you.
interest in the Karen Reed prosecution in the Superior Court of Federal Street and the Aiden Carney cases as well?
Yes, I have.
And when did that interest start?
Karen Reed, first day.
Have you been following that matter?
Yes,
Do you attend court hearings and events in Denver?
Yes.
Relative to that? How long have you been doing that?
we're following it?
Yeah.
Oh, since the beginning.
Attending events?
Since the beginning, yeah. Whenever I can.
What, let's start that. Were you present on 2/26/24 across the street at the Superior Court for a Karen Reed hearing?
Yes,
And that day, were you outside the courthouse or were you inside in the hearing?
I was outside.
What were you doing outside? What was your plan for the afternoon?
Well, I was going to try and get in, and I couldn't get in, so I just stayed at the bottom of the steps there.
Um, At some point, did you see Mr. Carney come out of the courthouse?
Yes,
Where was he when you first saw him?
he was coming out the front door,
Where were you when you saw him?
the bottom of the steps.
What did you see him do when he first came out?
When he first came out, there was a bunch of people there, and he said he had to leave the court because of some issue with a restraining order, and he said, "Let's go across the street." So he went across. Okay.
Did he do anything with his phone around that time?
Not that I saw.
What did he? Where did he go after he came out and said that?
He said, "Let's go across the street to the registry of deeds."
Did he speak with anybody in the hall in the crosswalk?
Yes,
What did you see happen there?
I heard him talk to a police officer that was in the middle of the road. I think he was directing traffic, and he said something to him about.
The answer's been so far. I'll go to the next question.
Thank you. After you saw him go into the crosswalk, what happened?
He talked to the police officer.
Did you see what was said?
I heard words. Yes,
What did you-
he told him about that he had a restraining order. Some lady had it against him, and he had to be so much distance away from him. And the cop told him, "Go over there to the registry of deeds."
Okay, you just gestured when you said that. Did the officer gesture?
Yes,
What happened?
we just went over to the registry of deeds.
Did Mr. Carney go to where you saw the officer gesture?
Yes.
What happened after Mr. Carney got up there?
He started talking to us, and we were on the flat top there, the very top there, and he was talking to us. And then behind us, the people started coming out of Superior Court.
Next question. What time approximately did people start coming out of Superior Court?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
How long after 2 o'clock would you say people started coming out of Superior Court?
I don't know.
Was it a long time period? Or
No, it was short. It was short.
What did you see in terms of people streaming out? How many people?
There was a line of people.
A lot of people or a little amount?
There was a lot.
All right. There was only $20 to the next spin on the wheel, and here comes Kate Schmidt gifting 10 memberships. You who just were gifted memberships, you now have access to all my members-only content. You also will have early access to the videos I put out, and you will have your own emojis here on YouTube, and you will get access to my Discord. Everybody say thank you to K. Schmidt for gifting 10 memberships, and that gets us to, and $10 past the next spin on the Wheel of Regrets. I don't want hot sauce. I don't want hot sauce. I'm spinning again. No! No! Don't want hot sauce. There you go. Ah, much better. It's a whiskey shot. What are the odds? Ah. Georgia shot glass. Whiskey. Yeah, I don't feel like hot sauce. Dun, dun, dun. Can read, go in peace, live your life, earn a fuck ton of money through your movie deals and probably memoirs and books and everything. Aiden, make a fuck ton of money, you too, for the rest of your career. Cheers. Oh. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. Whew. All right. Thank you so much, and back to trial. Dun, dun, dun.
Did they cover the front of the courthouse, or did they only concentrate in one area of the courthouse?
I'd say pretty much the front.
Do you know someone named Lindsay Gattani?
I have never met the woman.
Do you know who she is if you see her?
Yes.
Do you know on 226?
Yes.
Did you see her that day?
Yes.
Where did you see her go?
In front of the courthouse.
Where did she go?
In front, if you stand in front of the courthouse, she went to the left towards Dedham Center.
Was she going towards the registry of deeds building or away from the registry of deeds building?
Oh, wait. Heading to Dedham Center.
Around the time that you saw her going towards Dedham Center, did you have an awareness of where Mr. Carney was?
Yes.
Where was he?
He was behind me.
How far away?
He was at the top of the stairs, closer to the building, and I was on the side. I went down the sidewalk to film. 20 feet.
Did you hear Mr. Carney say anything relative to that might have given you an indication that he knew that Ms. Gattani was there?
No.
Did you hear him say liar, liar?
No.
Did he say or do anything that made you think that he may have been aware of Ms. Gattani doing the same?
No. I didn't hear anything.
Thank you, sir.
No, 1 second.
Oh, I was going to grab a water. Thank you.
You said you saw a pickup near where you lived up. You said you saw Lindsay Gattani that day?
Yes.
And you didn't have any trouble picking her out or recognizing her?
No.
How does it you know what she looks like?
I've seen her on Facebook.
He's fucking military. He drove fuel and supplies. He has to be observant.
Facebook. Pictures.
Okay.
I've seen her in public before.
All right.
I just-
whose Facebook page have you seen her in public?
I couldn't tell you.
No idea.
No.
And you've seen her in public before?
I want to say I saw her at the courthouse before.
All right. Has she been a regular attendee to the Carney hearings, would you say?
I don't think so. No.
You've seen her in the courthouse on other occasions then?
I think I might have seen it twice.
But you remember what she looked like?
Yeah.
And anybody standing, you were across the street from her when you saw her?
Right.
And was she proceeding down a ramp?
They all were, yes.
Yes. But you didn't have any trouble picking her up?
No, there were other people there that I knew
Anybody
too.
looking across the street wouldn't have any trouble picking her up?
Correct. Right.
So you said that at some point you left Mr. Kearney and you went down to video.
Yes.
Why were you video?
I'm following the trial, just like everybody else.
Is there something particularly memorable about the people exiting the courthouse?
No, it was just a crowd coming out of the courthouse.
So you think you could keep that as what, souvenir?
Yes.
All right. And,
Not really a souvenir.
what, did you do anything with the video afterwards?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
I sent it to Mr. Carney
All right. And why did you do that?
because he was looking, I guess because he was looking for any kind of,
Tell me his reason, just tell me why you did it.
why I did it? Because I want to help somebody who's falsely
Okay, you wanted
charged.
to help Mr. Kearney, and you thought that sending him this video would help him in some way?
Yes.
Did he request that you send him a video?
No.
Was there a general request by Mr. Kearney that people send videos?
Not that I know.
So you just did this on your own?
Right. Yep.
So you send Mr. Kearney the video. Are you a regular viewer of his various shows?
I look at pretty much everything.
Okay.
The Herald, everything. Facebook.
What's that? The Herald, Howie Carr,
Howie Carr. I look at them all.
all the great.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you subscribe to Mr. Kearney's page channel?
No.
Have you donated to his defense?
If you're here,
Karen Reed?
make yourself
Yes.
known, John.
Do you send Karen Reed?
Love to talk to you.
Less than 1,000.
Closer to 500 or closer to 1,000?
Closer to 1,000.
Okay. So you're pretty committed to this process?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Kearney is a vigorous advocate for Karen Reed, is he not?
Yes.
In fact, I venture to say you watch him regularly.
Not regularly.
No?
No, I watch it off and on.
You watch him off and on.
I'm in bed at 9 o'clock.
Have you ever heard him say anything negative? Karen?
No.
You ever heard him say anything good about the prosecution?
No.
Fine. And you endorse those views?
Yes.
So you're here today to help.
Yes.
Now, as I understand your testimony, when you see Mr. Kearney coming out of the Norfolk Superior Court, Mr. Kearney says, I think the word you used were, let's go across the street to the registry of deeds. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And then after that, as you're crossing the street, presumably to get to the registry of deeds, Mr. Kearney stops and speaks to a police officer.
Yes.
And as a result of that conversation, did you say the officer said, why don't you go over there to the registry of deeds?
He said go up top there, right?
Go up top there to the registry of deeds.
Right.
And you distinctly heard the officer say the words registry of deeds.
I heard registry of deeds.
Well, you don't know whether you heard it from Mr. Kearney or you heard it from the officer.
I believe it was the officer.
The officer.
Yes.
So the officer, so Mr. Kearney, is this fair? Mr. Kearney had already announced that he was going across the street to the registry of deeds, and he stops and talks to the officer, and the officer, in fact, tells him to go where he was already going. Oh,
Yes. Probably double checking.
okay. Mr. Kearney, you executed an affidavit in this case, did you not?
Yes, sir.
Is this it? Or photocopy of it?
That's it.
You signed it under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes.
Thank you,
Is
Sharon.
it, is it fair to say that you explained the events in this affidavit consistent with your testimony here today? That is,
I can't see it.
well, let me read it to you, and you tell me if it sounds like I'm reading it correctly. And
If you could just ask the question, witness will answer. As long as you frame it as a question, Mr. Cosgrove, go right ahead.
All right. Do you recall writing in your affidavit? Mr. Kearney said there were some issues with the restraining order, and he was going across the street of the registry of deeds to comply with the restraining order. And I, along with others in the crowd, followed Mr. Kearney across the street to the registry of deeds.
Yes.
And then the next thing, do you recall that the next thing you write was that while you were crossing the street, you saw Mr. Kearney speak to a police officer?
Right.
And then after you finish, there's some more there, but after you finish with that account, you then say, we continue to cross the street to the registry of deeds.
Right.
Did you write this yourself, or did somebody write it for you?
No, I didn't.
It's all your own words.
It's mine.
So the first sentence I notice says, I am of age and a resident of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Are those your words?
Yes.
Anybody revise your words or make any suggestions?
No. It says resident, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a resident.
Yeah.
You are a resident of Massachusetts.
I am.
Sure. Did you,
Did you notice that Cosgrove is a bit mellow around around this person? Well, that is he can kick your ass. He might be getting older, but you can tell he can kick ass. And Cosgrove yeah, scared.
At some time before, after, or during your writing of this affidavit, did you deliver it to Mr. Bradle's office? Did you mail it? Did you speak with someone? How did you give it to him?
I talked to his paralegal.
Oh. And after you talked to her, did you make arrangements to get it to her?
Yes.
And what were the arrangements?
I believe I had somebody email it, I believe.
You think we even?
Yeah.
Oh, and did you say you searched it around, sir?
I did twice.
Good for you.
Thank you, sir.
No further questions.
You may step down, sir.
All right. I assume we are going into closing arguments after that sidebar, which makes this sidebar counter 4. Yeah, Cosgrove really goes hardcore on the women, but he was really scared of Jack.
Swear in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Oh, another witness. Sorry. What's your name? Mr. Jingles. Okay, hello, folks who joined the last hour. This is Mr. Jingles. He is the actual owner of this channel. I'm just the face of it. He runs everything here. Hello, Mr. Jingles. Did you catch the mouse you brought in, Mr. Jingles? Or do I have a present in my bed again?
Good afternoon, sir. Please state your name, explain last.
Paul Cady Jr., Cady.
What do you do for a living, sir?
Police officer. Police officer for the town of Dedham.
How long have you been so?
I was sworn in 2005, so about 20 years.
I'm sorry, how long have you been with the deputy?
About 20 years.
And tell us a little about your educational background, training, et cetera.
Sure. I went through the police academy, municipal police academy, graduated through that. And then after that, I went to school, received my master's degree in criminal justice. And from there,
Now, have you, do you know who the gentleman with here today, Carney?
yes.
And have you met with him relative to
Just to make so that Mr. Jingles here looks. Oh, yeah, kitty. Mr. Jingles is 14 pounds. This is not a small thing. He looks smaller because I'm not small. I'm just under 6'4" and approaching 300 pounds. So he looks like a kitty. Yes, Bree, 14 pounds of pure beauty. Mr. Jingles and his brother Buster are rescue cats. A friend of mine found them in an abandoned barn about 8 or 9 years ago. And then he couldn't keep them because he had to move. So I took them in. And then a few years later, Buster moved across the fields to my aunt, and Mr. Jingle stayed here. So, yeah, so that's the story about how me and Mr. Jingles met. All right, back to trial.
case that happened back in late February of 2024?
Yes.
Do you recall when you met with him?
It was during one of my shifts when I was working in the station.
And Mr. Carney approached you with some video from the incident that he wanted you to look at.
Yes.
How many videos did you look at with respect to Mr. Carney?
When he first came in, I'm not sure. I think overall it was around 3, but when he first came in, I don't know. Because I know he sent some to me.
How many videos ultimately did you look at relative to Mr. Carney?
At least 3.
And they involve an incident from 2/26/24 that transpired outside of the Dedham, the North Superior Court.
Correct.
The building across the street, correct?
Correct.
And just in a nutshell, were those videos of people leaving the courthouse that day?
Yes.
Were you focused on some people leaving the courthouse that day?
Yes.
What were you asked to do in terms of looking at those videos that Mr. Carney supplied?
Excuse me, yes, I do.
By Mr. Carney. Well, what did he want to invite your attention to on the videos?
He had come in originally to report
a false police report. And so he showed me the videos in his defense about how he didn't do it.
So he was reporting what he was stating was false claims by Ms. Gattani, Ms. Lindsay Gattani.
Yes,
In terms of investigating that matter, did you look at the videotapes?
I did.
Were you able to ascertain whether or not Mr. Carney is on any of those videos saying anything towards Ms. Gattani or at Ms. Gattani?
I was not able to know.
Were the people that were making those videos to your investigation, to your ascertainment, near Mr. Carney such that it would have appeared on the videos?
Yes, when he told me he was, if that's where he was standing, then yes,
And Mr. Carney had brought it to your attention that there was a restraining order issued in the case, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And so that if there was any evidence that he was trying to communicate with Ms. Gattani, that would have been a violation of the restraining order, right?
Yes,
And you were the investigating officer, you looked at all the body of video, and you were able to find no information consistent with any restraining order violation, correct?
correct.
All right.
So in terms of the videos that Mr. Kearney alluded to, officer, do I understand that all of those videos, to your recollection, show people leaving Norfolk Superior Court?
Yes,
And do I also understand that Mr. Kearney told you where he was standing?
yes,
You didn't actually see Mr. Kearney in any of those videos?
no.
First of all, Linz, thank you so much for your $5 super sticker. It is, I think it's a pear with an apple saying hello. And then Atheist Ant, hello, saying super chat money goes to Mr. Jingles. Nick is paid with rodents. Well, yeah. I know that Mr. Jingles brought a mouse in because I saw him chase it. Hopefully that mouse is no longer with us. Yeah, I will make sure your $10 goes to things for Mr. Jingles. I will make sure to it. Thank you so much. And that brings us to $25. So halfway to the next spin on the Wheel of Regrets.
So the point of showing you the videos, as Mr. Kearney's point of showing the videos, as you understand it, was to show you that he could not be heard in any of the shouting at Lindsay Gattani.
Correct.
Would it be your expectation, officer, that if somebody was trying to prove to you that he could not be heard shouting at someone, that he would deliver to you, if he had it, a video of him shouting at that person?
If he had done it, no. I don't think he would.
Well, Mr. Cosgrove, did Miss Gaetani provide it? Did Jan McCabe provide it? Did Paul O'Keefe provide it? Did your investigators, out of all of those videos that are many of them published, does anyone claim what you said happened? No.
But he told you he never shouted anything at.
Correct.
Did he tell you he always maintained a distance of 100 yards away?
I don't think that was discussed.
Didn't bring that up.
Not to my recollection.
If there were a restraining order that said someone had to keep 100 yards distance from someone, and he was within 100 yards of that person, would that, in your judgment as a police officer, would that be probable cause to arrest that person?
Yes.
Did Mr. Kearney ever tell you, to your recollection, that he didn't see Lindsay Gattani?
I'm sorry?
Did Mr. Kearney ever tell you that he didn't see Lindsay Gattani?
No, not that I recall.
Thank you. No further questions.
Just in terms of that, case, briefly, did you also look at Ms. Gattani in the video?
He pointed her out, yes. I wasn't familiar with her previous.
And did you watch that person to see if they registered any reaction to being yelled at or screamed at by him?
I did.
Did you see any reaction on her part?
No.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you.
That's all we have to do. Defense restaurant.
Let's take a break. It's 15 minutes and that's all of you?
Yes.
All right. Now they will take a break, and then I assume it's closing arguments. And again, thank you to Aiden's editor. If it's you, Aiden, good job. If it's not, good editor. Yay, Turtleboy. I agree, Derek. This prosecutor is a complete wanker.
All right, please. Court that session is
Thank you very much, Your Honor. May it please the court. Judge, Mr. Carney did not violate this restraining order on 2/26/24 despite the best efforts of Lindsay Gattani and her compatriots. The government, stated in legal terms, Your Honor, the government has certainly not proven this case beyond a reasonable doubt. And you're the fact finder, and we don't need to reiterate the standard because you apply it every day as a judge. That day, Ms. Gattani came into that courtroom wielding that restraining order like a sword, not using it as a shield. She was there for one purpose and one purpose only, and we know that from the circumstances. We know that Mr. Carney had just gotten out of jail. We know that Ms. Gattani had the restraining order, and this was Mr. Carney's first appearance back in the case after getting sent to jail on her charges of assault and battery in this court. She came in there and she was ready with her restraining order for one purpose and one purpose only, not to be there for the Karen Reed hearing, but to evict Mr. Carney to cause a to try to cause a restraining order violation. And I appreciate the Commonwealth saying it. Mr. Carney did the right thing and he left. It was about 19 seconds, if you look at the video, and I know you have 19 seconds between the time when Gattani went in the room and Mr. Carney went out of there. He didn't say the F word to her. He didn't look at her. He didn't do anything. He didn't need a court officer just to get out of there. Those are all things that Gattani said happened. They are all completely belied by the video evidence. None of it happened. So that tells you everything you need to know about the credibility of Gattani. She was there to evict him. And we also know that because of her own testimony about this bus situation. She claims that she variously, that she had to get her kids off the bus, that she had some other person getting the kids off the bus. Everything is just an ever-evolving story with her. And whenever she gets back into a corner, she brings up her children. And in this case, Your Honor, we know that she had to get home to get her kids off the bus at 3:10. So she was here not to sit around all afternoon and watch the 2-hour anticipated Karen Reed hearing. She was here to evict him from the courtroom and then get out of there. She had to get
Yeah, remember that during the prosecution's case, they didn't call the so-called babysitter to say, yes, I babysat. Isn't that weird? It's almost as if they lied.
Get home to get her kids. She tells this ridiculous story that somebody else was going to get her kids off the bus. What responsible parent would have someone who the kids never met waiting for their kids at the bus stop? Oh, that's the rule number one that you tell your kids is you don't ever go to somebody that you don't know. And I think that's a complete fabrication after the fact concoction of the story, Your Honor. Yet another one of those. So in this case, Judge, Mr. Carney leaves immediately. He does the right thing. He goes to the government. And this is a significant legal fact, Your Honor. He went to the police and he said, where do I go? I have a restraining order. We have it on tape. You saw what happened. That never happened. We have it here. He recorded the conversation. He was live streaming. And the officer said, go over there. Gestured up to the registry. Go over there for now, actually, is the full quote. He goes to the registry. He hangs out as far up against the building as he can get. He's waiting for further action. He's waiting to report things to the officer. Why? Because of the Frank Keegan situation, which you saw in Chambers. He knows what this person is capable of. And he's in the middle of it. She just chased him into his place of work, into the courtroom. He leaves, does the right thing. He goes outside and he wants it documented. He doesn't want to disappear and run into her. He doesn't know what she's capable of. He probably doesn't even quite have a rational appreciation for what she can and can't do because she's already sent him to jail for 60 days. He just gets out and she's trying to get him right back to jail, walking around with that restraining order, showing up to places she has no business being at, showing up to get him in trouble just 3 days after he just gets out of jail. He's shaking, he's angry, he's scared, he's upset, he has anxiety. He's trying to get away from her. So he goes to the representative of the government, of the policeman, and says, here's the situation, 100 yards, where should I go? He gets sent up there. He's not a drone. He doesn't move as the crow flies. He goes down the steps, around the corner. He takes a circuitous route down the steps, across the street, and up and some more steps. He's trying to comply with what the officer says. He's waiting there for the meantime at a safe location so he can report it. He's not engaging with her. He's not bothering her, whatever. There's no criminal intent, none whatsoever. And so if the alleged violation is later on, there's no knowledge and there's no contact because he has no knowledge, no intent, she has no knowledge or intent he's there either. And her assertions are A, lies, and B, after the fact concoctions when they get back to the car and her co-conspirators, her compatriots look through the video and say, oh, there he is. All right, we have him in business. And they're also trying to get him on this claim of automobile damage, where we know from the circumstances that he could not have done that. There's zero evidence he had anything to do with that. There's zero evidence that is even something that is a fresh situation. And Gattani has absolutely no credibility to believe that this may have just happened right there. We don't know when that happened. There's no evidence. There's no fresh damage. There's nothing to that. So they're trying to get him on this phony motor vehicle thing. They're trying to get him on this setup of a restraining order violation. So all of this occurs, and Mr. Carney is live streaming the whole time, meaning he's talking into his phone. He has his phone up. He's upset about what happened. He's reporting about what just happened to him. Meanwhile, the hearing ends early. Everyone streams out. You see the video. It covers the whole front of the Superior Court. So many people have black coats on. The women, black coats, black hair, black sunglasses. You look, it's a sea of people. It's reasonable and likely and probable, and it did happen, that Carney was live streaming and looking around and didn't see Gattani. Gattani registers no perception of Mr. Carney. Gattani's walking along. Gattani never once gestures. There's never one bit of looking, pointing, call 911, telling her friends, nothing about Mr. Carney being there. She doesn't see him. He doesn't see her. That's no contact, Your Honor. At a bare minimum, the government doesn't come anywhere near proving the case beyond a reasonable doubt that there was contact. And they have to acknowledge to have contact, Your Honor. Kearney went out of the courthouse and was walking away from the building, Your Honor. She was walking away towards Dedham Center, and then she turns and she's walking away towards the parking lot. So even if there was intentional contact, which there wasn't, she was walking away. And so whenever there's accidental contact, you can't just beam yourself up to be automatically immediately 100 yards away. If you see the person leaving, they're leaving. The situation is getting to where it needs to be. And he has a due process right that there be time that elapses for him to get into compliance. And if she's leaving the scene, compliance is being effectuated. It can't be something that's instantaneous. And of course, Your Honor, the most important thing about this is that Kearney goes to his orbit, not once when she goes to the courtroom, but twice when she goes outside. Mr. Carney has no idea what's going on. The hearing was prematurely over. Everyone anticipated a long hearing. And Mr. Carney wanted to report it to the police. He didn't get that chance because everyone streamed out and the officer was already busy directing traffic in the walkway. So that's the entire factual scenario, Your Honor, where you see cases that come through here every day with respect to restraining orders, where people are trying to get to someone, trying to knock on someone's door, trying to show up at their work, trying to bother them. This case is the exact opposite, Your Honor. Mr. Carney is trying to get out of here. He doesn't want anything to do with her. He's got, obviously, from his anxiety and his upset, he's got some major post-traumatic stress disorder from this woman, and he doesn't want anything to do with her. And she is trying to effectuate.
Do not ever argue PTSD. First of all, it's not in evidence. Second of all, if you bring it into now this is over, his words are not evidence. I would assume Mr. Kearney actually has PTSD from these encounters with Lindsay. But if you argue PTSD, you are opening up maybe later down the line for, if successfully argued, opening up for a collection of medical records. Be very, very careful arguing PTSD.
This violation, she's trying to chase him down, just like she did to Frank Egan, to get him arrested. That's what she does. She's not a person of good character. She's not a person of honesty. She's a person who strives on chaos and trouble and harm. And that's what's before you, Your Honor. And the last thing I want to suggest, Judge, is that imagine a scenario where this kind of conduct is rewarded by a court, is implicitly allowed to be a restraining order violation. What a message to send to people with restraining orders, that you can use it as a sword. Go find the guy and create a situation. And that's what Lindsay Kearney did here today, Judge. That's what the evidence showed here today. So I ask that you find Mr. Carney not guilty. Thank you.
And here comes Cuntgrove.
Well, the defense has done its best to make this trial about Ms. Kearney's conduct rather than about the defendant's own conduct. But that is not the case. I don't know that I need to repeat the arguments I made to you, Your Honor, on the motion to direct a verdict about the Commonwealth having proven each and every element of its case. But I do want to review the evidence and suggest some inferences that you could fairly draw, and I would suggest you should draw, somewhat different from those suggested by Mr. Bradle. And I'd like to start with the restraining order itself. Can we have number 27 on the screen, please?
Yeah. But those three first is not the argument that is before the judge. You can repeat those three first. Is there a restraining order? Is it in effect? Does Aiden know they are in effect? That's not what this trial is about. It is about the fourth, intent.
Number 2, you are ordered not to contact the plaintiff in person, by telephone, in writing, electronically or otherwise, either directly or through someone else, and to stay at least 100 yards from the plaintiff. And these words are important, Laura. Even if the plaintiff seems to allow or request contact. Mr. Bradle probably referred to the fact that Your Honor has seen these cases before, and I imagine that you have. How many times have you seen a case where someone is brought in on a violation of probation, or a violation of a restraining order, and the defense is, Your Honor, she called me up. She invited me over to the house. She said it would be okay if I came over. And all that's true, but it's still a violation of the order. It's still a violation of the order. Only a judge can modify a no contact order. Not I think Mr.
Yeah. Thank you, always, James. He actually have PTSD and prescribed medication for it. Yes, but in a legal setting, in a court of law, if you reference PTSD in your case in chief or anything like it, that opens up for medical records to be handed over to the state. And that is really, really dangerous.
Kearney's words, I hope I'm quoting him correctly, were some meathead cop. I think he said you can't hide behind some meathead cop. But apparently, Mr. Kearney believes he can hide behind some cop. That a police officer, or at least Mr. Kearney's interpretation of what a police officer said, can modify a restraint. And I suggest to Your Honor that if calling somebody up and specifically asking him and inducing him to violate a restraining order is not a defense, is not an entrapment defense, then there certainly isn't an entrapment defense that arises from somebody walking into a room. In fact, we know what the law is with this sort of accidental contact. The law is the person is to leave and make prompt and reasonable efforts to bring himself in compliance with the order. The order is 100 yards. He started out fine. He got up and he left the courtroom. All he had to do, Your Honor, was keep walking and put 100 yards between him and Mr. Kearney. But now we get the excuses, the alibis, the reasons why he never puts 100 yards between himself and Mr. Kearney. Well, one is, I checked with the government. I did what the police officer directed me to do. Well, you heard the clip, and you heard the officer's testimony as to his perception of what happened. Mr. Kearney comes out and says, first thing he says is, I want to put this on record. Why does he want to put it on record? I suggest in light of both that comment and what you've seen in the rest of the trial, you could infer that Mr. Kearney wants to put it on record because he's setting up his alibi. He does not want to leave. He wants to.
Oh, now I brought up, Brooklyn says it's a HIPAA violation if his own attorney brought it up. Since his attorney is representing him, I believe if he does bring it up, it is inferred as with the approval of Aiden. If it's not, Aiden has to make that argument with a new attorney. Jan says, hi Nick, could med records be limited to only those referencing PTSD? Yes, if the court approves of a limited discovery. Was there any more? Now, I don't know Massachusetts specific around this, but generally that is what happens. You know, setting up his alibi. Oh, go fuck yourself, Cunt Grove. All right, that's good. That's great questions, guys. Great questions.
To stand there and make his live cast and denounce Lindsay Quintani and complain about how he was forced to leave that courtroom because he actually thinks it's his workplace. Well, you heard it from Mr. Bradle. I assume the defendant endorses that. It's just, it's just like a mechanic in the shop. Well, Your Honor might have reached the conclusion that it's a public building and that Ms. Quintani has every bit as much right to enter that public building and accompany her friends, whether old friends or newly made, as does the defendant. He talks to the police officer, and apparently, if we can believe the defendant's own witness, Mr. Carney, the police officer fortuitously suggests him to go exactly where he already told Mr. Carney he was going. I'll walk across the street. I'll get 30, 40, let's be generous, 60. No, that's probably too generous. However many yards away, that'll be good enough. You know, I left the courtroom. I have it on record now. The police officer countermanded the judge's order. I've got a defense. I'm fine. So what does he do then? Does he stay across the street where he was, quote, directed to go by the police officer?
Yes, he did.
Who, by the way, testifies. He doesn't know who he has the order against. He doesn't know who that person is. He thinks he gestured toward Pond Street, I believe it was, and the last he looked, Mr. Kearney is walking off in that direction. But Mr. Kearney says he's staying there because he wants to file that report. You might think his mind was on his live broadcast because that's what he's doing, not filing his report. And does he stay where he has been, quote, directed to go by the police officer? No. Does he even better get out of there, put 100 yards between himself and Mr. Carney? No. Rather, he begins the process of following along when Mr. Carney exits the courtroom.
What were your evidence again? Yeah, blow up pixelated of someone. That's it.
Among a bunch of people. So he starts out right in front of the courthouse building, and then there's a progression. Could I have photo 14, please? When Your Honor looks at these exhibits, you can see that as the crowd goes down the ramp, he moves a little off the steps and up to the right, in the cornice there, and then number 15. Now he's down on the ground in front of that tree, closer to across the street. And then number 16, please. Now he's moved further. He's got his camera up. He's supposedly terrified of what Mr. Carney is doing. It doesn't occur to him that if she's trying to entrap him, that maybe the sensible thing to do is for him to get the heck out of there. But he seems to be photographed. Is he live streaming? Maybe. Is he looking at Ms. Catani? Maybe. And we've heard all this stuff about the various witnesses that Mr. Bradle called today, who immediately recognized Lindsay Catani. And we know from Mr. Carney's testimony, I think, that he picks her out right away, standing across the street. He doesn't have any trouble seeing her. I think it was him that I asked, was there anything about her that would make anybody standing across the street difficult to pick her out? No.
Jack is a military, active duty Iraq veteran. His job is to identify things. That is embedded in him. That does not leave you. If your job is to transport things, you have to be absolutely conscious about everything in the surroundings, identifying things. I wish that the defense brought that up. Was that your training in the military service? I've done my military service over here as well in the artillery. Never in active duty, but you learn those things. Now, I did my military service during the Cold War, so that was a while ago. So different time, different types of training.
Very conspicuous. If there's anybody who has reason to know what Lindsay Catani looks like, Your Honor, it's certainly the defendant. But his story is, well, I'm not sure what his story is. Is his story that he didn't move, or is his story that he did move, but he didn't see Miss Catani? Because Your Honor has just been told that it's reasonable that he didn't see her. Well, we have no testimony. Mr. Kearney's not compelled to testify. He has the same right of any citizen. But I suggest that nobody else can testify to what Mr. Kearney saw or didn't saw. So Your Honor is therefore compelled to rely on inferences. And what inferences should Your Honor draw for the person who is well familiar with Ms. Catani and who is supposedly terrified that she is going to approach him and frame him and send him back to jail, and who follows her path as she walks down those steps? Well, he didn't see her. He didn't notice. Well, was he terrified and paying close attention, or was he not? It can't be both. It can't be both. And frankly, whether he saw her or not at that point, he's never removed himself. He's never removed himself 100 yards from where he first saw her. Can we have 28, please? That's a 100-yard radius from standing on front of the courthouse steps. You'd have to go to the other side of the Superior Court. Looks like we'd have to go 100. The other side of the Superior Court, beyond Norfolk Street. Someone standing in together.
Actively removing yourself from the situation, which in this case is the expectancy of a several hours long hearing. They came out there minutes after Aiden left the building, going in the direction. Even though he said, "Oh, I'm going to go over there," Yeah, but it was still in the dark. The cop told him, get over there. So he removed himself from the situation, and then Lindsay removed herself from the situation.
100 yards away from where Mr. Kearney is standing, more or less. You can give him a couple of yards either way.
Folks, imagine during all of this with Aiden, how many other cases, actual crimes, could the Commonwealth have prosecuted? Dozens, but they chose Aiden instead of actual crimes. So somewhere out there in and around Canton and Norfolk, there are a bunch of criminals who is not facing trial because they are preoccupied with Aiden Kearney.
No quibbling. We're not going to move it down in the other direction. We have to go back well into the parking lot behind the local registry deeds. You get 100 minutes away. And they had a car. They knew where they were parked. The hearing was over. There doesn't seem to be anything particularly newsworthy about watching people file out of the courthouse. But Mr. Kearney was furious that he had been evicted from his place of work. And he was going to broadcast about that, and he was going to stay there. And who cares whether he got, at that point, within 100 yards of Lindsay Gattani and violated the order, because he had his excuses all ready and set up. And by the way, I asked one of Mr. Kearney's witnesses, she wasn't much of a football fan, but she readily expressed the opinion that the difference between the front steps of the courthouse and where Mr. Kearney was standing, although I don't think she phrased it that way, I asked her the distance between there and the registry of deeds, was it more or less than 100 yards? Oh, less than 100 yards. And she suggested to the court that she was absolutely right. Mr. Bradle says, well, there has to be a grace period. How long a grace period does he need? Is it a grace period to do a live broadcast? Is it a grace period to walk along parallel to Ms. Gattani and film her? No, he was upset, Your Honor, in part because Ms. Gattani was walking along behind Jennifer McCabe, he suggested. And that meant he didn't quite dare approach and harass those witnesses and film himself heroically badgering them with questions that he pretended.
Mr. Cuntgrove, you are aware that this is beyond reasonable doubt? And here you are speculating wildly. Maybe this, maybe that. Referencing so-called evidence. Oh, he walked, he followed her. Well, for fuck's sake, you absolute retard. How did he follow Lindsay while at the same time recording Paul O'Keefe? Jesus.
He wanted to answer. That really annoyed him. And we saw that, Your Honor, when he called his very last witness in this case, Mr. O'Keefe. And by the way, Lindsay Gattani had left them. So he was free to approach Mr. O'Keefe. And what does he complain about? He complains about Lindsay Gattani being with him. It's all a plot. You're all out to get poor Aiden, the courageous reporter. And you're a disgrace. You're a disgrace to your brother.
He is.
Somebody tries to interrupt him. He says, I'll say whatever I want.
He can.
That's what he wanted to do.
He's a reporter,
That's why he was so
and that's
upset.
the first fucking
And
amendment.
What he wanted to do when he walked out that courthouse door was get material for his harassment broadcast. And he was going to do that regardless of what the court order said. To hell with the court order. I've got my alibi lined up. And all this stuff. Entrapment. She tries to entrap him. Let's suppose it's true. Let's suppose she wanted to entrap him. So what? He wasn't entrapped. It didn't work. He saw her enter the courtroom. He got up. He walked out the door. All he had to do was keep going. All he had to do was put 100 yards between himself and Ms. Gattani, and he never even came close. I asked her wrong.
Maybe because.
And
I want this to go to 2 now.
another sidebar. Sidebar counter 5. All right, what are we waiting for? Well, I know the result, but I don't know if it's in this video. I hope it is. Sadly, a percentage of those crimes in Canton are perpetrated by the police. Yeah, I would assume that a majority of drunk driving in Canton is by cops. Oh. Come on. There's just 3 minutes left of the video. Please tell me that he actually does it directly from the bench.
All right. Let's answer the brief research. You may be seated. Thank you. Quiet, please.
Oh.
Back in session. You may be seated. The defendant remain standing, please. Thank you.
Aiden Carney, after a bench trial, you have been found not guilty as to one charge of violate abuse prevention order. Such charge will automatically be sealed by the Office of Commissioner of Probation and the clerk's office, unless you notify both offices in writing with intent that you do not want the charge sealed, using the request not to seal court records.
Not guilty! Not guilty!
By mail or email to the addresses provided.
Fuck you, Count
If
Grove!
you want copies
Fuck
of
you,
any documents
Lindsay!
associated with these charges, you must request them immediately before the charge is prosecuted. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court, all right. Court session is ended. Please, quietly, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see, is there anything else? No. But what I did find here was the July 7th status hearing. I haven't seen this one. So I'm going to borrow Aiden's video of that. Yeah, so everything about that case, the violation of restraining order, gone. Gone. Not guilty. And that is actually excellent regarding the rest of the cases that this one. Because that means the judge found the prosecution's witnesses not credible, in my opinion. Should we watch the motions hearing, status hearing, 7/7/25? Yeah, I'm taking an executive decision. We are watching this as well. Let me. Where do I have that? Where do I have that? There. Let's do a swoop first. Yes, folks, that is my swoop, the Norwegian fire-farting dragon. You cannot sneak up on that from behind. All right, let's watch the status here. Now, I will cut out this part to a separate video since, well, it's convenient. Yep, all right. Damn, Aiden, you traded up. Way up.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Robert Cosgrove. Good afternoon.
Hello, Your Honor. Timothy Bradle on behalf of Aidan Carney. To my left.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Barrow. Good afternoon. Okay, let's arraign him on the new case.
Let me know if sound is okay.
On May 13th, 2025, the grand jury sitting in the County of Norfolk returned indictment number 2582CR 00088 charging as follows. Offense 1, charging intimidation of witness, and offense 2, charging intimidation of a witness. You wish to waive the full reading of these indictments?
Yes.
How do you plead to each of these indictments?
Not yet.
Thank you, sir. Is there a question of bail?
There's no question of bail, but I would ask the court to impose the same conditions that were imposed in the Stowe
What happened
District Court.
7-7 or before? Did it... Oh, is this the making gestures outside of the pizzeria thing, where Albert actually should be charged with illegal wiretapping? It's illegal to record audio from unknown people, and he did. But that won't happen because D.A. Morrissey is a fat fuck.
So no contact with the alleged victim, stay 100 yards away from his place of work and residence.
What are the allegations on these, on this one?
Intimidation of a witness, Your Honor.
Yeah, but what's the nature of it?
This was the appearance outside.
Oh, outside the
shop.
Wait a minute.
Yes, right.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, here's Country Grove again.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll close that, Margaret.
Thank you.
Would you do that now?
Why don't you do that now? Just.
Mr. Carney, the court recognizes a person without strength the following conditions. You have no contact right or indirect with the victim in this case. You are to stay away, have no contact, stay away 100 yards from the residence and the place of work of the complainant. Consent to those conditions, sir?
Yes.
You're hereby notified if you're charged with crime or appeared at your release. Bail in that matter may be revoked and one for maximum allowed to 276 section. Thank you.
All right, what else are we gonna do?
Judge, if I may jump in right there, just for the record, we filed 2 arraignment-related motions, Your Honor.
Okay.
Obviously, we can push those to another day with 2 small exceptions of just an order to preserve notes of investigators and to preserve video, if I may, Your Honor. I don't believe there's an objection.
Okay. Yeah, those are both, so we sought, Commonwealth sought to preserve notes of investigators and to preserve video. What else can I do for you?
For me or for Mr.
Why don't I
Wade?
start with you, Mr. Cosgrove? Go right ahead.
So Your Honor entered a discovery order the last time you were here. I made substantial progress on it. I can't say I totally complied with it, but.
Oh, is this when they are still refusing to hand over discovery? I heard of this.
Somewhere in the
Or,
neighborhood
well,
of 5,000 or 6,000 pages.
they kind of have to now, and it's a lot.
Mr. Bradle today, and I had planned, Your Honor, to file that with a motion for a protective order,
Aww.
which I had.
Are the Alberts afraid? Are they afraid?
And we have been going along with these, essentially tracking protective orders in the Karen Reed case, and in fact, much of the material is duplicative of discovery turned over the Karen Reed case, and I pretty much follow their form protective order. These have all been allowed with the agreement of the defendant and without prejudice.
Okay.
I understand that Mr. Bradle wishes to bring that practice to an end as of today. I'm in a somewhat different.
I think this is fellow yelling at the window.
Let me hear from Mr. Bradle. Mr. Bradle,
Thank you, Your Honor.
give me your argument.
I appreciate it, Your Honor. Judge, the Karen Reed case is over with. It's moved. It's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
And
And per definition, they are no longer witnesses, which makes everything that happened, they are no longer witnesses. Moot. Off you fuck.
my filing, Judge, entitled Aiden Carney's motion to release case documents from impoundment is what we're talking about here.
Oh yeah.
So I asked the court last time, and we had so much business on the docket last time, I don't think we circled back on it.
I want to
But I was
read
asking
some
to
of those
release everything
documents.
from impoundment, Your Honor.
I want to read the
The
text.
fact that things are embarrassing.
I want to read the texts and emails between Morrissey and McCabe and Kate Peters and whoever's. I want. Oh.
Or scandalous or cause negative light to be cast upon public officials, Your Honor, is not a reason to impound documents. It's actually a reason to release documents. And that's really all the Commonwealth has left on the existing stuff, is that, you know, gee, this might make investigators look bad. This might make special prosecutors, present company accepted, look bad. This might, you know, cause election shifts, you know, and that's not a reason to impound things, Your Honor. And initially, we have sort of taken the candy from, you know, from the Commonwealth, and when they say, just, we'll give you this stuff, but just agree to this protective order. So we want the stuff, but at some point we have to get off of that train, Your Honor, you know. This is a case of immense public interest. This is a case of, you know, First Amendment issues, and I know we may disagree on that, but you know, that's what our adversary system is for, and that's okay. And I think every case that eventually gets to the SJC or the Supreme Court starts with a trial judge maybe not agreeing with you, so that's okay. And you know, that's what we have here. But in any event, Your Honor, I think we can agree that this case brings to the fore really important issues about what is witness intimidation, what is journalism, where does the First Amendment fit in, and you know, these text messages about, you know, and I'm trying to not speak of them in open court, but we all know what they say, and we all know that there's a public interest in shining some sunlight on these things. So we're not asking to, you know, publish someone's address or someone's phone number. We're asking for the content of these communications that these folks have issued.
I want Morris's burner account information. I want all of that. You know why? Because if I get a hold of his burner accounts information, I can start searching for other things those burner accounts are connected to. I know how to do that. Or I have friends that knows how to do that.
Between and among each other, and the content of them per se has no persuasive power to make you want to impound it.
Let me ask Mr. Cosgrove, what interest at the moment does impoundment serve?
Your Honor, I've just been handed 20 minutes ago a fairly extensive motion suggesting that I have all kinds of various burdens to justify impoundment and citing a lot of case law. I would like an opportunity to file a
Yeah, I'd give you that. Was a week enough?
more than that.
About 2 weeks.
All right.
There you go. I'll give you 2 weeks. I'll take it under advisement. And if
2
you
weeks.
want to file anything else, Mr. Bradle, Mr. Federer, you absolutely have every opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Now, Your Honor, with respect to the items that I was going to turn over today,
So I'll allow the motion. Mr. Bradle, I'm up here.
Sorry, Your Honor.
It's all right.
I thought I had a minute.
That's fine. You got to talk to your client. You got to talk to Mr. Federer. My point is this. If you want the stuff today, I'll allow it without prejudice. Sure. And then I'll see what you have to say and what Mr. Cosgrove.
We have to take the candy.
That's fine.
Please note our objection.
Yeah, this is a judge who wants this over with. This is... I've been doing law for many years, over 30 years. Now, rarely I am doing my work in front of judges. But folks, after a while, you tend to read people. This is a judge who wants this over with, who is basically, via humor, telling the Commonwealth, hand it the fuck over.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I will allow Mr. Cosgrove's motion without prejudice. And I'll take any submissions that you have, and I'll give you a final answer probably
Well,
in
they
about
are.
2 weeks.
Thank you very
Does that
much.
make sense? Okay.
And then,
So the
Judge,
case
to
is
shift
off
gears a
the
little bit,
fuck,
there's some
but he still
outstanding
has
discovery
to
that
hand
we
it
haven't talked
over.
about.
Yeah.
And
Is that
I
it?
want to start off, I know that the court's time can be much better spent in discovery disputes. So we talked about the idea that we would go to the DA's office, and to the extent there's items that the government says they've given us that we can't open up or figure out,
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna, I think we're gonna agree to go in person with our people and figure it out. So
Yeah, sure.
that's the first thing I want to say. But then, in addition, Your Honor, there's the this inventory that I filed. It's entitled Inventory of Outstanding Items in Connection with our Third Motion to Compel. There's about 10 things, Your Honor, and I think, unfortunately, that the government ought to go through and answer to us today about what the status of these things is. And we've been kind of going back and forth about these things for a long time. I looked back, Your Honor, and my first discovery request was February of 24. And second and third, you know, were the months following. And you know, in fairness, counsel for the Commonwealth was not the prosecutor of record at the time. But, you know, the rules are the rules, and we need this stuff, and it's gone on way too long. So these are the 10 things that I think are very important, maybe 9.
Mr. Cosgrove, might you want to take that 2 weeks and respond to all of those?
Oh. Well, not breaking news, but Detective Dever, you remember her? Detective Devour, with a false memory. Attorney Alan Jackson demands her to be placed on the so-called Brady list. As in, she is concluded as not trustworthy. She makes things up and cannot testify in court. That's nice. That's nice. Okay, back to this.
Can you give me an extra week? I'll give you an extra week. Okay. All right. But it is, Mr. Bradle makes a very good point. As we all know, I think that it's important that the discovery be turned over so that we can bring a timely trial to the case.
I don't
Okay,
disagree with
so there will be a trial.
Notwithstanding that Mr. Bradle has some complaints, and some of them may well be legitimate, there has been a substantial amount of discovery turned over in this case.
Yeah. If you turn it over 5,000 pages today, it's a lot of discovery.
We appreciate it.
Okay, great.
5,000 pages.
Attorney Better has a number item.
Mr. Better.
Thank you, Judge. Just going back briefly to some of the issues about impoundment.
Yeah.
There are some items that are currently under impoundment, which we believe ought to be released from impoundment. Specifically, messages from Michael Proctor and a civilian witness. Those messages were cited in our motion to dismiss. As the court is no doubt aware, Michael Proctor is terminated from the state police. He has been a matter of public interest with his involvement in both the Karen Reed case, which led to Mr. Carney's interest, and ultimately, on some level, his indictment in this case. But also, those messages were impounded ostensibly for privacy interests, security interests, those sorts of things. Recently, Michael Proctor has been on a press tour on ABC News and NBC News, vigorously defending his investigative conduct. The messages that are at issue here, which are...
Proctor, you moron! Your press tour removes you as... Now you're all of a sudden a public person. Which means you have less protection from the law. Uh-oh! Proctor made an ouchie.
Pounded. The public is entitled to see that. There is certainly a presumption of public access to those files. Michael Proctor has surrendered any privacy interest he has by addressing those issues, as has, the civilian, the other civilian that we're talking about, who also recently appeared on national news with other members of her family defending her and her family.
That would be Colin McCabe.
In this case, those messages should be publicly available. If there's going to be information that's in the public realm, there's no reason why information that the prosecution wanted concealed from public view should be concealed any further. If the court likes, we can approach and show you the messages. I would suggest they are relatively straightforward, and there's no reason for those to be impounded at this time.
Okay. Anything you want to say to that, Mr. President? Not going to give you another week.
Well, I would suggest it would make sense to take this up when we take up the other.
I think that makes sense.
I won't ask for another week. I won't ask for another day.
That's, why don't I do this? Why don't you all come up to sidebar? Let me take a look.
Hey, sidebar.
Thank you. Judge, one outstanding issue relates to the second of the three indictments that relates to Lindsay Gaetani. We moved and were granted a hearing to disqualify Mr. Mello from prosecuting that case because he is an essential witness in that matter. That issue was decided in September of 2024. A hearing was ordered in January of 2025. For reasons which the court is familiar with, that hearing has been put off. Nevertheless, we're looking to move this forward, and the issue is not resolved, and we're led to believe that Mr. Mello will not voluntarily withdraw. For whatever reason, we need to do this hearing. We believe that he's going to be a defense witness in this case. We're getting discovery between him and another civilian witness today, which I think is going to further that application and very likely make him even more a prosecution witness. And we just can't kick this can down the road for close to a year. So we would like to schedule a date for Mr. Mello to either appear, be examined under oath, explain the consequences, which the court, again, is probably familiar with. He was contacted by the complainant during the alleged crime repeatedly, 4 or 5 times over the course of that day. Instead of the police being called, he was an ear witness.
Oh, this is the Lindsay. Okay. This is Lindsay collusion with the prosecutor. All right. Now I know what it is.
Come in here, answer these questions so the court can issue a decision as to whether he's going to be allowed to continue or whether we can go through the process of subpoenaing him and any other items that might be of assistance to us with calling him as a witness.
Mr. President.
Can I inquire if Mr. Mello is online?
I do not see him. Attorney Mello? Last time we used his name, there is no one.
Can I approach?
Of course. Come on up. Mr. Federer, you said you have one more thing.
Yes, Judge. Just as it relates to discovery, we have made a series of discovery demands from the prosecution ranging from October of 2024. As of this date, not including whatever was filed today, we have made 4 very thorough, detailed discovery demands sourced regarding contacts between a civilian named Catherine Peter and the state police and the district attorney's office regarding her very unique relationship in all matters involving Mr. Carney. Those demands, which again are in the files, Mr. Cosgrove has them outlined in detail, her frequent contacts with the state police, with people that are prosecutors, statements that she has made under oath in court proceedings stating that she helps authorities get Mr. Carney, voice recordings that she has left Mr. Carney indicating that she provides information to them. So we have asked for any discovery related to Ms. Peter going on about a year. Now, today, for the first time, we are admittedly getting something that relates to her communications with Mr. Mello. I'll only note that all materials that relate to Ms. Peter and the prosecution were ordered by the court in early May to have been provided within 20 days. That didn't happen. We got stuff today. That's fine. But the real issue here is that in light of the change in Rule 14 from last March, the game is very different than it might have been before in terms of what the prosecution is obligated to do and what I don't believe they've done in this case, which is go to every member of the prosecution team, which is everyone in the district attorney's office, any of the state police who are involved in these matters, which includes Michael Proctor at the time, Yuri Buchanan, Lieutenant Tully, Fanning, there's a whole list of them. The Karen Reed prosecutors who are also covered, who got a little bit involved, as the court is aware, in Mr. Carney's case and may or may not have had a relationship with her too. She has made statements allegedly indicating some involvement in that case. The rule requires the prosecution, whether they credit the information or not, to contact each individual that is on the prosecution team and make an inquiry and find out whether there is any material and disclose it. We don't think that that has happened. We respectfully submit that is something that Mr. Cosgrove has to do. In particular, I would draw the court's attention to testimony that was given by a member of the state police in February of 2024, which led to a wiretapping charge against Mr. Carney, in which Fanning of the state police stated under oath that they received a recording, a 30-second recording from Catherine Peter, that it was given to Lieutenant Tully and then given to Fanning, and we have no evidence of that. We don't have a copy of the recording. We were given the wrong recording in that regard. We have no police reports. We have no communications. We have nothing. If they don't exist, they don't exist, but they're obligated to look for it, make the inquiry, and report back and say whether any of this exists or not. And the last thing I'll note.
Oh, if this had been in Fulton County in front of George Glanville, he would just say, well, they say there's nothing, even though the inferences of the information in that case was overwhelming. They say they have nothing. You can prove they have it. Therefore, they don't have to do anything, even though there were overwhelming information that piece of information existed. Now, this is not Fulton County, but not far off.
On that point, under the new rule, it doesn't matter whether the prosecutor credits any of this, thinks it's nonsense, thinks it might be real. They're obligated to do it, and we simply ask respectfully that the court instruct the prosecution to do that and disclose whatever evidence ought to be disclosed, or make a statement on the record that there is nothing to disclose. And if that's the case, then we'll all live and die with the consequences of that statement.
No, it's largely been done.
Is that part of the 5,000 pages that you're turning over?
It is. Among the things turned over is the email from Catherine Peter to Brian Tully providing that 30-second clip.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fine. So that seems to solve that. You said that you had some things you wanted to bring up. All right.
Yes.
And I would assume that thanks to that email and 30-second clip, they can make references to it to go further into discovery.
Yes, so this will be an opportunity, Your Honor, for myself and Mr. Devereaux to do an absolute 180 on our positions on disclosure of impounded documents. Your Honor will recall that the last time we were here, attached to a discovery motion was an affidavit. And at that time, it was initially filed provisionally without hearing from the Commonwealth, was impounded upon, I believe, not the affiant's representation, but I think Mr. Bradle's representation that the affiant was in fear that there would be some sort of retaliation by the Commonwealth. I think Your Honor will recall fairly outrageous, if I can put it that way, representations that were made by the affiant. I believe now, as I moved at the time, that affidavit should either be stricken or that the impoundment order should be lifted. I don't believe an affiant should be allowed to accuse an assistant VA of jury tampering and a district attorney of having secret meetings with witnesses and all these other things, and then hide behind an impoundment order.
Okay.
Let me get to the other side. Mr. Federer.
Yes, a couple things that I think ought to be corrected. The affiant is not alleging what happened. The affiant is alleging under oath that she was told by another individual who we were discussing earlier what happened. That's the first point. The second point is that document was attached as an exhibit to a discovery demand. Discovery demand number 4, alleging more reason to believe that there is an obligation for the prosecution to look into possible discovery that is in their possession, custody, or control. If that affidavit were to be stricken, that means literally nothing. They are still obligated to do whatever it is they had to do, and at the time that that motion was discovered until 20 minutes ago, absolutely nothing has been turned over regarding this person who brags about working for the authority. So I don't know the relevance of doing anything one way or the other with respect to the affidavit. Now, that person may very well have a privacy interest because the day after that affidavit was filed, her apartment was essentially covered in personal information about herself that could have only come from someone with access to law enforcement, and almost certainly that individual was subjected to charges of witness tampering, which I believe were actually under investigation and may still very well be. I can't go farther than that. I don't know. Somebody, whoever did this, wrote snitch on her door. So I would suggest in this situation, impoundment of her name is more than appropriate.
Okay. Just make 2 points in response. One, I don't think it's entirely true that the affiant was simply relying on recounting hearsay. If she was, that would say something about the credibility of the affidavit as well. But I seem to recall, Your Honor, that at this one point, the affiant represented that she was present when Ms. Peter, I believe it was having a phone conversation with Hank Brennan, and that she, the affiant, recognized Hank Brennan's voice because she was familiar with it. So I don't think it was simply a matter of hearsay. The second thing I'd say is that the identity of this person is all over the internet, and was all over the internet at the time it was before you the other day. I don't know what the interest is, given those circumstances, in concealing it in the court papers.
Judge, I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Could I just add one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Apparently these things that were affixed to her door in her apartment building, which is the same apartment building that Ms. Peters lives in. And I think the implication was made at the time, first of all, that event was publicized by Mr. Kearney on the internet, with photographs of the door in question. And I guess I would just question, Your Honor,
Really?
the source of those documents, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Very
Really?
quickly, Your Honor.
After
In
all
terms of
these
this individual's
years
name
of
being on the
so-called
internet,
witness intimidation?
there are two reasons for that. The first is because
No.
Miss Peter identified her publicly and led to this kind of harassment. The other reason, and this was no question a mistake, but Mr. Cosgrove mentioned her name accidentally, and no question, no malintent, but her name was stated in open court, and as you can see, people watch in court, online, and whatnot. So the fact that her name had been put out accidentally through no fault, with no malintent, is not a reason I think we just open up the affidavit to her name.
Okay, thank you all. So we have a date for, what was it, August? What was the date, man?
August 13th.
August 13th. And then we'll pick a
Okay,
date. for
August
the,
13.
Am I correct, Mr. Cosgrove?
A new hearing in a month.
Now, or do you want to pick it on?
When do we pick it
So
up?
the state gets another month.
All right, I may have some, I'm sorry, I should be saying.
That's okay.
I may have some information about
That's fine.
the health status at that time.
All right. We'll see you all on August 13th. Okay, thank you all.
One more, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I believe we have an agreement, Mr. Bradle has responded relative to the source code for accessing the search of the devices. And he's indicated that it was the same source code previously provided to Lieutenant Tully, and that he would supply it again if necessary. And I've indicated to him that that's appropriate, and I think he should supply it today.
Sure,
And I
Mr.
don't think
Wood.
there's a disagreement with that.
All right. You don't disagree with that, do you? All right. I'll see you August 13th.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.
All right, that was the hearing. There will be a new hearing in a month, but they got 5,000 pages of discovery. And when it comes to discovery like this, those papers, those documents, those texts, everything in there can lead to more discovery motions. You have to go down the rabbit hole when it comes to discovery. Get one item, get one item, get one item. Oh, now I have a reference. Ask for more. Ask for more. When does the Aiden case trial start? August 19th. August 19th. And I believe it is scheduled for about 2 weeks, which will make it the last trial I cover before my trip to United States. Yeah, I'm going to the States. September 3rd. My plane lands in Salt Lake City. I will be in and around Utah. I will visit Jeff's family. I will visit Danny Ann. And then I will go around in Utah. I will try to do videos about the court cases and the trials and everything. I will then leave September 18th for Miami. And I will be in Miami up until September 24th. On September 20th, we will have a meetup in Miami. It's me, it is Steve Gosney, and a few others. So we will announce it better as we get closer, where we will be, at what time we will be there for meetups in Miami. All right, that concludes this stream about Aiden Kearney and his issues with the corrupt prosecution in Norfolk County. And I'm going to redirect you to the Lego stream that starts in just over 2 hours at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It is me, is Steph the Alter Nerd, who will compete in Lego build. and some interviews and some snark and some, yeah. So that is what's going on next. So, but I will redirect you to that. But before that, thank you to Snivels, 10 gifted memberships. Thank you to Dave for your $10. Thank you to K. Schmidt, gifting 10 memberships. To Linz for your super sticker. To Atheist Ant for your super chat. Also, thank you to, where is it? There. Thank you to Thomas for your $10 via PayPal. And thank you to Dave via PayPal for your $5. And also, where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Hold on. There it is. There it is. And thank you to Ellen for $20. All right. Now I'm done. Now I'm done. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. From me and Mr. Jingles. We will see you again in about 2 hours for the Lego stream, where I will build Lego competing. All right. Now I'm done. All right. See you in a couple of hours. You all have a good one. And remember, folks, to hug your family. Unless your family's shit, then screw them and give your love to the people who deserve it. I'm going to send you off again with a free Turtleboy song.
Dr. Turtleboy walks the line, truth in his hands. Fingers pointing at shadows, he's breaking their plans. Corrupt suits in the courthouse playing their game. But the lies they sling won't tarnish his name. They try to bury him, but he won't go down. Fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. Turtleboy standing tall in the fight. Truth's his weapon shining through the night. Bogus charges flying, but they can't stick. He's cutting through the darkness, sharp and quick. The gavel pounds, but his voice won't break. No matter how much they take and fake, they try to bury him, but he won't go down. Fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. Turtleboy standing tall in the fight. Truth's his weapon shining through the night. His ground in the face of their lies. His courage resounds. For every false word there's a lie he ignites. A warrior for truth under courthouse lights. He's been bruised, but he won't lose the war. Kicking down the gates of corruption's door. Dr. Turtleboy still chasing the sun. The fight's far from over, but he's never done.